join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Is your concrete cracked or
just one of us for now? By the way, Jimmy, I hear myself in my headphones. Got pretty good poll questions over the last few days there,
Really?
OJ.
Can you give me a good sampling?
Yeah, do we want to run down some of these poll questions?
Best polls of the College World Series.
As we still have the echo in our headphones.
That's all right.
We're only 3 minutes into the show. It's not going to go away.
Solutions.
It's just a button. Don't you just turn off the button?
That's okay.
It's okay. Imagine, Happer, if you're down there on the field trying to talk to Jim Schlossnagel and you're hearing an echo the entire time.
I would probably just
had an echo. That I'd probably just take my
Great
headphones
job, by
out.
the way. Another great interview by you.
Eric Church, what a guy.
And then-
Very great guy. Great guy.
He's a friend of mine.
He's one of the best guys.
More John and Josh, or John and I'm Josh. More John and Gary peppering you with questions as you're doing the interview.
They keep doing this thing where they yell at me while I'm talking to somebody. Hey, say this.
Yeah,
say
this is a new thing. Do you not like this new thing?
It's fine.
Okay, I think it's funny.
I think it makes a lot of
For the record, I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's fun.
Josh, Jay, excuse me, do we have some of the poll
I got
questions?
some poll questions.
All right, let's see what we
I don't
have.
hear the echo
Would
anymore.
you give
It's
up
gone.
anyone on 1620 the zone for Stibbs?
Would I give up
Yeah,
anyone?
is the implication that I get to choose?
I have to give up someone?
Someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't trade what we have.
Wow.
I
Look at
love
you.
Stibbs is dead.
Wow.
I love what we have.
By the way, this is a reminder. Stibbs, I don't think I've announced this on the air. Stibbs is filling in this week, and we're doing a surprise movie club with Kent Wagamon in honor of Stibbs filling in for John on Friday.
Oh, cool.
We're doing a bonus movie club.
Is it that Robin Williams movie?
It's
you
the
told me to
Robin
watch?
Williams movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do that one.
That
It's on
sounds
Hulu.
Cool.
All right. I'll tweet out a link later on. All right. What else we got, Josh?
Friday Night Lights. Good movie, bad movie.
Great movie.
Oh, yeah. Schaefer and I were both agreeing that it's not the. Well, they were accosting.
Is it worse than the book?
Yes. Book. Just one book.
You're
He
the
wa-
books guy.
He was accosting me because I said that Varsity Blues is not very good.
That's our other poll question. Varsity Blues. Good movie, bad movie.
I don't think I've
Nice.
seen Varsity Blues.
It's so overrated, Happer. And they were stunned because they were like, oh, did you just watch it? Maybe thinking it's problematic in my mid-30s.
Oh.
No, I watched it when I was 18, and I was like, this movie kind of stinks.
No, Friday Night Lights is one of the best sports movies we have.
Wow. Interesting. Poll question, is Friday Night Lights? That's not a very good poll
I think
question.
we've done that before.
Rudy is
Yeah.
my favorite sports. No, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams is your favorite sports movie?
Hey,
Are you the one who's walking around Omaha during these weeks and telling people, drive 5 hours to the Field of Dreams?
I would never
It's
say that.
beautiful.
I would never say that, but I love the movie. A dad having a catch with his son who is like 80 years younger than him because he's dead?
Yeah. Field of Dreams is fine. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite sports movie.
What is?
Not even close.
Is it Friday Night Lights?
It might
apparently?
be Friday Night Lights.
Wow, that is a wild opinion. Any other poll questions?
Oh, yeah, we got more.
Okay.
Are people named Josh part of the problem?
Oh, that was, I don't remember what that is from, but that was funny.
I would agree with it.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know what problem we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, but
Does Josh Peterson look like a guy who makes his own sunflower seeds?
Yes, a kid asked me, he goes, what are those? And I said, they're sunflower seeds.
what are those?
And he goes, did you make them? Because I said, they're my sunflower seeds.
Did you make them?
And I said, no. But then it led
What
to
would a
great-
sunflower seed maker look like?
Not me. I think like Nick looked like last night.
Disheveled.
Nick, disheveled,
Sweaty
beater on.
Sweaty beater Nick
What?
does look like he makes his own sunflower seeds in a big kettle.
What a photo of Nick. You are doing yeoman's work, Mr.
I'm
Conrad
trying to
Happer.
bring all the content to the table.
Well,
that
you're
I
doing a
can.
great job. Anything else?
I think I got two more.
All right.
Is Scotty focused on the pants?
Is this about Scotty Scheffler?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
He broke that cop's pants.
yeah, I think we were just making reference to it the
He
other
wasn't.
day.
He wasn't playing very well.
Yeah, but he made the cut. Shout out Scotty Scheffler.
beyond repair.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond
And
repair.
our first poll question here at the OBV this weekend: whatever happened to old-fashioned white and gray? Yes or no?
Oh, is this about baseball pants?
This was a yes. We were talking
Great
about
take.
the City Connect stuff. Who was it in particular that we were talking
Probably
about?
the Twins.
The Twins. Yes, the Twins news. That was Friday. Wow, that was Friday. That
It was a long time
It
ago.
was 3 days ago.
Now-
and it seems weeks ago.
Josh Odson, not OJ.
OJ.
Josh Odson, you'd be interested to hear this.
Mm.
I, as you know, have been a proponent of not anything but white or gray pants. White or gray pants is the only way you go. But Florida State, with their Friday all garnet and their Sunday all gold,
Oh,
I very much enjoyed them.
Sharp.
really?
So I
Go
reserve.
Knowles, says that
Go
man.
Knowles, says that guy. I reserve my right to pick and choose which jerseys I like at random,
Interesting.
rather than being
Blanket?
beholden to a take. Yes.
Well, I did say I like some of the City Connect hats and jerseys. My issue actually was with the Mariners blue and black.
Yes.
They don't go together. And then
No.
that got us to a conversation about how apparently you can wear blue Navy suits with black shoes and a belt these days.
No.
What has happened to society?
No, Navy
That's
suits go with brown.
That's what the kids are doing now, apparently.
No.
They're on TikTok and they're wearing black belts with a Navy suit.
No. You wear brown shoes and brown belt with a Navy suit.
Correct, but apparently not the children.
This is odd.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on out there. These kids in their giant sunglasses,
They're huge hats.
their giant hats.
Their hats are so huge.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, what are we
indeed.
going to do with this Zen Water Max Homa thing?
We're giving it away.
I would love to enter the contest, please.
Don't think you're allowed to, Happer, but the
Sad.
folks can stop by and they can enter the contest for the Max Homa Zen Water Titleist golf bag. That thing absolutely rocks. It is massive. You could put so many things in
Look
there.
at how many pockets are in there.
Lots of pockets, lots of zippers, and it's Titleist, so you know it's great.
You do.
Max Homa, the internet's favorite golfer.
Josh learned that it's a cart bag.
It's a cart. No, I didn't learn that.
Yeah,
I knew it was
Because
a
it
cart
doesn't
bag.
have its little stilts.
Yeah, I knew that. I am, or at one point was of golf. I have many golf takes. I watched the U.S. Open yesterday. I was watching it as we did the show.
I have a cart bag.
Do you really?
I do. When am I going to walk?
That's an excellent point.
Why would I walk?
Why would I walk? I remember my dad. He got a membership to a golf club when him and my mom moved to their current home, and he was like, "Yeah, so we have this membership. You guys can go play. Probably have you walk most to save some money on the carts." And we're like, "Okay."
No.
We got there the first time we all played together, and he's like, "Let's just get the cart today." And we were driving. He goes, "Never mind. We will never walk this course
Attaboy.
because it was way too large. To go from one 9 to the other 9 would have taken way too long. We would have slowed down the whole course."
People have the pull carts.
Ugh.
I don't, just take the regular carts.
Yeah, you'll get
It's
your
okay.
steps in.
Yeah.
You'll get your steps
you'll-
in.
You're still outside.
Yeah,
The
indeed.
great outdoors.
Indeed. Coming up on the show today, we'll have John Walker stop by from the Omaha World.
Oh.
This is John's first ever men's. Well, I assume. I'm going to guess it's his first ever men's College World
I've
Series.
seen John this week.
With his nice beard. He's got a great beard.
Yes. You
Yeah.
know who John looks like?
Who?
He looks like our organist. Other
Oh,
John.
Other John.
John-
OJ.
John.
OJ.
He looks like John Benedek.
John Benedict. All right, the John.
We should get them both out here.
Does the organist have an H in his name?
He does.
Oh,
He
wow.
does.
It's like John Bishop versus other Johns without an H.
Also one grievance to file.
Okay.
You see something wrong with this?
It looks like a mugshot.
They spelled my name.
Oh, no.
wrong
It's missing an N.
on my credential.
Oh,
So I am Canar this year.
Canar.
C-O-N-O-R.
Happer. I don't think. Wow, that's not a great look for them.
It's okay. It's
not a great
probably
look for
more
them.
of a bad look for me.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Other thoughts and topics that we can have today, some topic alerts. Nick Handley and I, when he joins us, we are continuing to go through every Big Ten team. This is some prime CWS content here, Happer. What would make a good season for all 18?
No, you're not.
We did 9 on Friday. We did 9
how'd you
on
split them?
we're going west to east, so we're done with Nebraska. We already moved on from
Yeah,
Nebraska.
Nebraska's like the fifth westernmost team.
We did them. They were a part of our first 6 groups of teams. So we'll do 6 teams on the early show today, and then 3 on the later.
That
show today.
is so funny.
Isn't it great?
What did you come to a conclusion on Illinois yet? Or are they still
Illinois.
coming up?
Illinois. No, we did Illinois bowl game. We both agreed a bowl game would make a good season, a successful season.
Scintillating.
It's great radio,
It is
Happer.
great radio.
People love hearing about football.
You're right.
So we'll talk about football. Also, Nick's a big golf guy. We could talk about the U.S. Open, an incredible U.S. Open, great theater. And I also wanted to ask him about Bryson DeChambeau and what's up with everyone liking this guy now.
Oh yes,
People
like him now.
People are big into Bryson, who it's not even that they had no takes on him a few years ago. Like they outright hated this guy. So what's up with this reappreciation of Bryson DeChambeau, and do we think it lasts? Are we building him up to tear him down again?
Do you have an opinion on it that you're going to share later?
Oh, I'll give an opinion on it later.
I'll share my opinion. I'll take 5 seconds.
Yeah, share it.
It's because he's winning.
Oh, interesting.
People only watch golf for the people who win.
Yeah.
And we want stars. And so all of a sudden he wins a major and we're like, oh, I kind of like this guy. He's fun.
Hard to argue
we
with
would like
that.
Satan if he won a major.
Oh,
Poll question.
poll question.
Would we like Satan if he won a golf major?
Satan won Augusta. He was so good.
Did you see his family?
Did you see Satan at
They
Amen
cried.
Corner?
Yes. He
Satan-
hugged Jim Nance. He gave him his tie.
How would Satan do at Amen Corner?
Oh, Not very well.
Not very well. That would be the one part. He struggles every day at Amen Corner, but otherwise he does a pretty good job.
He'd be great on 6, though.
Oh, can I play this over? Can I play this whole 3 times, please? No, Satan. You have to move to 7.
We would love Satan if he won a major.
Interesting. That's a great poll question. So we'll talk about Bryson DeChambeau, not Satan. Also, some fun guests will stop by, and we will chat with them about a variety of topics over the course. Today we have some bat people coming by a little bit later on in the show, and who knows what else. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Day 4 in 1620 The Zone live at the Omaha Baseball Village is sponsored by the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Visit omahazoo.com to plan your adventure. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. More to come as the sun peaks out here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
And for our community, because within the doors of Nebraska Medicine,
Good to see you.
we welcome your curiosity, value your voice,
Dr. Richards, what do you think?
and partner with you to chart your path to do the extraordinary. Together,
You got this.
this is our commitment we never take for granted. Because when you open the doors
Let me get that.
to Nebraska Medicine, you open yourself to an academic experience, a life experience, an extraordinary team experience beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong.
Ready?
Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers.
Security equipment makes sure you're always safe at home. SEI gives you time to focus on what really matters. Whether it's your home or business, we protect life and property with all the latest Honeywell home and first alert products by monitoring for security, fire, carbon monoxide, flood, and temperature. 24/7, 365. We provide peace of mind by connecting services like security, video, and automation in one system. Visit SEIsecurity.com to set up a free consultation. SEI is a First Alert Pro Residio Premier Partner.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com.
From experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro, Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Velocity is currently seeking participants to wear a Fitbit watch for 31 days with compensation of up to $200. Some other current studies include low T, COPD, flu, pediatric, infant, and RSV. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages. See current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com, compensation for study-related time and travel, and find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
Take me out to the rib shack.
Take me out with the crowd.
Buy me some ribs, brisket, and some mac.
I don't care if I never get back. Let me eat at the rib shack.
In every bite there's a win. For it's 1, 2, 3 slabs you're in at the old Rib Shack.
Rib Shack Smokehouse, 108th and Q.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
For a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. And the 1620 The Zone is joined today by the Drug Enforcement Administration to learn about the dangers of fentanyl or to join in the fight against drugs. Visit DEA.gov. We are back here at the OBV. The clouds, I love that the clouds went away right as we popped onto the air, and so now my computer is about to set on fire as this sun is scalding all of us. But in better news, Nick Handley has arrived, and he is plugging stuff in, and he's just about to start talking. We'll get into the U.S. Open yesterday. We'll look ahead to the 2 games today and a whole lot more. We are counting down. We'll be off the air at 12:40 ahead of an elimination game between NC State and Florida. And then Nick and I will be back on the air in between that game and the nightcap, which is Kentucky versus Texas A&M, an all-SEC matchup tonight. Mr. Nick Handley, how the heck are you?
It's been a while. Field of Dreams, really? That's your favorite, huh?
It's my favorite. Wow. Criticism for liking Field of Dreams. This is unreal. We're at a baseball stadium, Mr. Handley.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
A dad had a catch with his son. One of the most emotional moments ever seen on film. And
now, yesterday that hits home. Today,
what,
come on.
Today?
It's Father's Day was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Now we move past it.
Wow. It's like Thanksgiving. You only give thanks on that day, but it's Black Friday, and you're like, no more need to give thanks.
Come on.
I'm going to the store, and I'm going to run over somebody so I can get a TV for $50.
Exactly. See, you're painting the picture exactly.
Spot the lie.
Yeah, here we are. It is Monday, right?
Yeah, it is indeed Monday. You had the weekend off. You can't do the whole what day is it?
That is true.
Yeah, you got to sleep in.
I did.
The weather didn't affect you on Sunday. Did you get all your golf?
I got 18 in.
Look at this guy.
Got 18 in. It was glorious.
You had beers.
I did.
I know you went to brewery or at least one brewery.
I did.
Wow.
Yeah, it
wow.
was.
And
it was
you
a
have
weekend.
the gall to ask what day is it.
I'm refreshed.
Yeah, I know.
I'm refreshed.
You're like
Let's
Ryan
go.
McGee. So I booked Ryan McGee. He's going to join us at some point towards the end of the College World Series. And so I said, hey, are you coming to town again this year? And he said, yes, but I won't be into town. I can't remember what day it is, but it's going to be soon. And he goes, I'm going to be that guy. Rolling in. Everyone's going to be tired. They're going to look like Nick Grimm in the elevator last night. Meanwhile, Ryan McGee's going to come on in. Hey, everybody. We love baseball, don't we? That's how you feel today.
By the way, what was going on with Nick last night?
Great question. Amazing question.
He looked like he was on a 72-hour bender.
He did. Look, in fairness to Nick, and you've been up in that booth before, right? It can get toasty.
Yes.
Yesterday,
yes.
Like, I don't want to be hyperbolic. Yesterday might have been the hottest day that I was ever at the College World Series. It was not just the heat, and I don't mean to be that guy, but it was the humidity. It was just so thick out there, man. It was warm, and the air was thick.
So would you be upset to say that how I spent my other day off?
Oh, what did you do yesterday?
I
You
was
sit in your air conditioning and watching golf.
I was in the pool.
You were in the pool? I was in the pool.
I was in the pool.
I
was in the pool.
Man, unreal.
Yeah.
What a weekend
Hey,
for
bud.
you. Wow, what a weekend. Next year, if Mark is listening, if our boss is listening, I hope that he's taking notes. This is his first College World Series here at the station.
Yeah.
Note for next year, don't give Nick the whole weekend off.
Yeah, because I'll let you know about it, too.
Oh, yeah.
I will brag about it, and then you're right, I'll cry victim on Monday because I was on the air 4 hours earlier.
Yeah.
I'll cry victim. Sure. I'll play whatever card I have.
Well, we are happy to have you here. We are happy to be here. John Walker's going to join us next hour, and we got some other stuff planned as well. So you were listening on the way down, and I want to begin the show today talking about yesterday's U.S. Open. Incredible final round. Yeah. It was great. Jimmy and I were sitting here. We're watching the end of the baseball game, and so right when that ends, I turn on YouTube TV over to the U.S. Open. And that is when Rory, I don't remember if it's when I think he went up by 2 strokes, and it was like, wow, this is about to happen. He gives one back, but Bryson gives one back. And I mean, just incredible theater towards the end. And so I wanted to ask you, and this is such a typical sports radio question, Bryson win or Rory lose? What do you think happened yesterday?
This is the most typical response to it. It's both. Because you're not gonna celebrate the victory without how the door opened for Bryson DeChambeau, and you're not gonna talk about Rory's collapse without saying, well, DeChambeau had to make some good shots for him to fully capitalize on it. So I honestly, when a situation emerges where you could actually use that, and I think it's justified, I would say it's both, because DeChambeau's drive, you're thinking, holy hell, like he's got a great opportunity and he's going to piss this down his leg. The shot out of the wiregrass. If anybody didn't know about North Carolina wiregrass, they were inundated with it this weekend.
It looked nasty.
Yeah.
Both guys putting it into the junk on 18, and one guy recovered and got a par, and the other guy did recover, and then he missed the par putt.
Yeah, and the par putt that Rory had on 18, I was telling Gary this earlier. If you're watching, he wanted no part of that putt. And we've all weekend hackers have been in that situation where you're hoping your buddy that you're golfing, like, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Pick that up. Yeah, you're fine. Oh yeah, you're good. But that thing had so much left to right, had so much angle to it that the more he was looking at that thing, you can always tell when those guys, especially at that level,
because they're so good at that stuff, and so when they're taking that extra
when they're taking time and they're stepping
boy.
out of it and they're looking, and even his putt, it was the most unconfident stroke I've ever seen Rory, after he made some really good putts yesterday. So you knew that happened, but then when DeChambeau gets it into the sand, you're thinking, wow, we're going to go playoff here.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did out of the sand, that was a fantastic shot, and then he gets the putt that Rory couldn't make, and he's celebrating. And the putt on 16, though, for Rory was probably the most inexcusable one.
That
is I made a 5-foot putt this weekend.
Not to brag.
And it was and I'm not that good.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to brag.
Yeah.
But that was one that's inexplicable. Like the one on 18, it distance wise looked like that's in his range, but there was something going on with the angle there. But on 16, I mean, that's as easy as they get.
And that's the moment when you realize, this thing is about to get pretty wild down the stretch. And Jimmy and I are talking about it, and we're like, is this going to go to a playoff? Is it not going to go to a playoff? And, I couldn't remember what the playoff structure was for the U.S. Open, because obviously it used to be you play the full 18. Now they would have played 17 and 18, and then it would have become sudden death. And so we're wondering, like, what's going to happen here? And I think it was as Bryson is teeing off, like right before I said, I think one of these guys is going to win. And then he puts it in the junk, and it's like, oh boy, wow, this is going to be pretty wild. For him to recover like he did, you said it, he got the putt that Rory had, he makes it after Rory missed it. And what is the combined feat that Rory missed on some of those par putts late in the day? It is not. It is
7, maybe.
Oh my gosh!
I think it was 7 feet.
Not even Victor Wembanyama, and he missed it. He missed both of them. I'm wondering. This is a guy who's been waiting a decade to win another major.
Yeah.
He's very close to the career Grand Slam. Obviously, he already has a U.S. Open under his belt. But it's like this is where he wanted to be. I haven't had a chance to read the whole piece yet, but Kevin Van Vol, what's the guy who's now with no laying up? Kevin Valkenburg?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And so he essentially led off his story. The lead was Rory has been waiting for a moment like this when he is on the back nine at a major and he is kind of in control. And this was on hole 10 when he makes the birdie and he starts his run. And so he's been waiting and waiting and waiting for this. And he blew it. He absolutely blew it with some of those putts late. And it's like, what happens to this guy next? And the elusive major is still waiting for him, and that's the fourth and final one of 2024. You just wonder what this could do for him mentally. A guy that has been through a lot personally and on the golf course over the last handful of years.
I think you're right, and it's just wild to think the last 2 majors, each Monday the big story on him going to the PGA Championship is filed for divorce. big story Monday going to the U.S. Open is they reconciled.
Yep.
And then there's the whole rumors of Amanda Balionis from CBS that they had some type of relationship, could have led to the divorce. But then there's also the reports of it would be financially better for Rory to reconcile. So we don't even know if they just found love again.
Yeah. Or did they find happiness with their bank account again?
Yes.
Or did he find happiness?
Yeah, I think
with
he did.
Yeah.
Come
to a
because I know he
stuff.
had like a prenup, but it can only be enforced in the United States, couldn't be enforced in the UK. So I don't know where they actually call home or how that would have worked. But the whole thing of Rory's recent major aura, I brought this up on Friday with the British Open that Cameron Smith ended up winning, where Rory was your leader going in. He just had to play essentially slightly above average golf. He didn't have to play spectacular, meaning you just needed a couple of birdies and the thing was over. He could not make a birdie. He could not make the putt that mattered. And if you look at yesterday, up until 16, he actually had some really good putts. He did some, like when the rest of, because DeChambeau was actually over par yesterday with his round. Rory's making birdies, but then you get to 16 and you wonder if missing that one unlocked a little bit of that, that mental part of it, which I can't even imagine.
And that's why he misses 18.
Yeah. Or you have those moments where, that razor's edge that you have to walk, especially in a course like that, where guys were hitting the fairway and they were still going off into the native wiregrass. So it was obviously a extremely small margin that you had to toe there, but I thought he did more things in yesterday's round that he did in that British Open that he just didn't do enough. Yet you still had, even with him missing that par on 18, you still have Bryson DeChambeau, who essentially does the same thing Rory did, hooks it into the wiregrass, and it's not like his second shot was all that better. He winds up in a bunker, and then DeChambeau just has the shot of his career to this point out of the bunker. But you bring up a great question is, there's a lot of them that are going to get it, Rory. I think there's a lot of near misses that get it, Rory. This has got to be the most brutal.
Couldn't agree with you more. Just an incredible way to lose. And it's funny, we barely talked about the guy who won, and so that will lead to the question that I asked of Happer, and I want to ask of you, why not Hoiberg shot us a text at 402-951-1620 with his answer of the likability and what has changed with him over the last years. We can talk about that when we return. Hour one is presented by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. And come by the Zone booth at the bullpen inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win a summer prize pack of tickets to the Henry Dorley Zoo. Casey Royals tickets and ice cream from 10 Wallies for a year. 13th and Mike Fahey. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley rolling on with you on this Monday, June the 17th. Another team will go home today, and another team will move on to 2-0 in Omaha. Back after this on 1620, The Zone.
Fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat facing our nation. A dose small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil is potentially lethal. The Drug Enforcement Administration is working hard to remove this threat from our streets. Join the fight and make a difference. To learn more about a career with DEA, visit DEA.gov/careers. People with different skills but the same mindset to keep drugs out of our communities. Visit them in person at Baseball Village during the College Baseball Championship.
And we're back live, and what a beautiful day here at the park. Just listen to that crowd. Excitement's in the air. They've come to see the best of the best from all over the globe in what's been a fan favorite for nearly 130 years. That's right, it's all at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Be sure to swing by between games and check out our newly reimagined Hubbard Orangutan Forest. Plan your visit at omahazoo.com.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
In the heart of the country is a children's hospital at the forefront of pediatric innovation, where teddy bears and coloring books meet leading-edge treatment and technology, where warm smiles and a human touch go hand in hand with tools like remote patient monitoring and robotic-assisted surgery, and where a committed team of healthcare providers believes innovation is best used to deliver better care for kids. Children's Nebraska. Believe in better.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistants, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Why wait for your perfect landscape when Patera can get it booked now and installed in plenty of time to enjoy this summer? Gorgeous, healthy trees and bushes, a colorful garden with a water feature, a berm, a beautiful new patio. Whatever you're imagining for curb appeal or more privacy, Patera can book your project now so you can enjoy your perfect landscape and cookouts this summer. Patera, Omaha's best. PateraLandscaping.com.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
At Rotella's Italian Bakery, they put unsurpassed product quality into everything they bake. Old world skill and experience are masterfully blended with modern efficiencies to create the delicious breads, rolls, hamburger and hot dog buns, and other specialty products that have delighted their customers since 1921. Combining customer satisfaction with uncompromising quality is their goal. Rotella's Italian Bakery, a century of pride in every slice. To see the full menu of products, visit rotellasbakery.com.
The Pinnacle Bank Championship presented by Woodhouse is back, and you don't want to miss a second of Omaha's biggest golf tournament of the year. Join us August 5th through the 11th to catch the action as players battle their way towards the PGA Tour. Plus, enjoy events like RSM Youth Day, the Patriot Outpost, and the Live and Loud Concert Series. Secure your tickets today at thepinnacle.championship.com/tickets.
Now back to the Men's College World Series Special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is joined today by Pyramid Contractors, craftsmanship at its finest. In this hour number one is presented by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley. We have Josh Hodson here as well. Jimmy Chavez hanging out in our 1620 The Zone studio. We'll be on for another couple hours ahead of NC State and Florida. One of those two teams will go home, and the other will move on to play the loser of tonight's game between Kentucky and Texas A&M. A loser's bracket matchup tomorrow, Florida State, North Carolina. That will be the early game, and we will see what happens for the nightcap. So putting a bow, Nick, on the U.S. Open conversation, we spent the majority of the first segment talking about Rory. And so the other side, of course, is Bryson DeChambeau. He picks up his first major win in a few years, and it comes at a very interesting time in his career. And so much of the dialogue surrounding him over the last couple of months, I would say, but in particular the last week and change is what's happened with this guy. Is he more likable? Why is he more likable? There are like videos of him. Was it leaving the PGA and he's like signing autographs for kids and doing all sorts of stuff.
Letting everybody touch the trophy yesterday, running around the whole grounds.
Did you see the video that he did at the end with the guy from the Golf Channel? Where,
where he's explaining the bunker shot.
So
and
if you missed it,
he was everywhere.
One of the guys from the Golf Channel is doing a hit, and we would play it on here. It's 4 minutes long, but this guy is doing a hit, and he's like, so I'm in the bunker, and he's showing the shot to the audience of like, here's what it looked like. Well, then out of nowhere, Bryson comes over and surprises him. And he's like, hey, hit another one. And so then they're talking through hole 18, that bunker shot. The guy's asking him, like, were you worried about this? Were you worried about that? The guy ends up hitting a killer shot. He lands a foot away from the cup. Bryson then gives him the U.S. Open trophy, and he's holding it. And it's like, what an amazing capper to an amazing day, to an amazing week, to an amazing moment in time for Bryson DeChambeau. And so it leads to this question of like, have you changed your opinion on Bryson? Why have people changed their opinion on Bryson? And to kick this one off, I like this text from Why Not Hoiberg. He says, Bryson came on the scene as a pretentious nerd who thought he was smarter than everyone else with his single-length irons and other stuff. Now he has a YouTube channel and has humanized himself and is good with fans. I don't care for him on principle because I don't like anyone who took the Live blood money, but he is more likable. I think that kind of distills a lot of how people feel about him. Came on the scene, super brash, didn't like how he handled himself, also took the Live money. There was the whole Brooksy stuff a few years ago, and now people are like genuinely happy for this guy. It's pretty wild how about face everything has gone over the course of the last few years.
It might be the PR job of the century,
right?
I was asking. This is what I'm grappling with, and for people who know me, and I've mentioned this to you, and Shafe has probably talked about us. Bruns. One of the very first texts I get yesterday after all of this is from Michael Bruns, because he and I have also shared a disdain for the guy.
Yeah,
and I have people who love to give me a lot of crap anytime
he does well.
Bryson does well, because they know he irritates me. So, and I think Why Not Hoiberg has a pretty good grasp of this. It was when he started out, there were just a lot of. It was before he even bulked up. There was the smarter than the field, the pretentiousness, the human rain delay. I mean, he'd be 150 yards out, and then he would walk up to the green to get a read of the green, and then walk back. And so there was the pace of play, and then there was a lot of the calling out of other guys of their physique, and that's where the whole Koepka thing started.
Yep.
There was this feeling of, I'm going to cut corners to reach a lot of milestones when it comes to golf. I'm gonna outdrive the field. I'm gonna bomb these courses. Augusta's not really a par 72 to me. It's a 70 because I'm that good. There's just a lot of, there was confidence in his game, but then there was these moments. This was right during COVID where you didn't have a lot of fans, so you got to hear a lot of the parabolic mics pick up things. There was a time that he just absolutely reamed a CBS cameraman.
Yep. There was the ants thing. Remember the fire ants thing?
Yeah, the fire ants thing as well, where he was trying to get the ruling on that. There was another time where you had these volunteers that were off the green having a conversation while he and someone else was putting, and they were nowhere near him. He went over to them and essentially lectured them on how noise travels and how they need to keep it down. Just real moments like that. There were major character things that were just, you wanted to punch the dude. I mean, I'll be honest. And then he goes to Live. And then there's that class action lawsuit against the PGA where you've got he and Patrick Reed, another one of the PGA heels, that are on this class action. Their guns are blazing at the PGA. And then he sort of backed off from a lot of that. And somewhere along the line, and that YouTube channel I know gained a lot of popularity with them. I looked at some of it. Again, it wouldn't draw me there because I'm just not a DeChambeau fan.
Yeah.
So my whole thing, and just kind of in a very long-winded way, my whole thing with them is what we saw before, really more Bryson, and he's got a team of PR folks that are where he's pushing the right buttons, saying the right things, doing the right things, because this is the one thing I will say about Bryson DeChambeau. Extremely intelligent person, very, almost to a fault in some circumstances, but is extremely smart. He knows when the cameras are on him.
100%.
He knows when all of that's going on. So just how I casted my opinion of him earlier, because that was sustained behavior of being sort of a D-bag. If this is sustained behavior from what we've seen, and this goes back to the PGA Championship too, where he handled losing very gracefully.
Yep.
If that's sustained, I'll co-sign with he's put that part of him behind him. He's more mature. Maybe it was a maturity thing. I brought this up earlier today, and I don't know if maybe I'm reaching here, but think about the kind of money that he came into with Live. When you get into that life-changing money, you can go one of two ways.
Sure.
You can continue to be an absolute clown, or you learn more responsibility and handle it in a mature way. Maybe that had something to do with it. So I'm more now sitting back and watching to see if this is really who he is, or if this is just knowing when people are watching, the cameras are watching, you're trying to change the narrative, and you're doing everything to make it look like you're part of the common person right now, which was such a thing against him. If we're still talking about this a year from now and 2 years from now, I'll say it. I'll be like, yeah, the guy's changed. He's now finally found his rhythm of who he is. Maybe what was going on before were the pressures of trying to make a name for yourself on tour, and he just said a lot of the wrong things or behaved in an immature manner. Maybe that's who I'm skeptical, though. I don't know if this is genuine or not right now.
Yeah, you're asking, is it genuine? Is this real? Like, what is happening right now? Like, is it a ruse? Is this PR?
Right.
And so I just finished reading a book called The Cup They Couldn't Lose, America, the Ryder Cup, and the Long Road to Whistling Straits. Really, really good book by Shane Ryan. I would say, even if you're not a diehard golf fan, which I am not, you are certainly a bigger golf guy than I am. If you want to know the history of the Ryder Cup, why Europe has had so much success over the last 4 decades, I would highly recommend this book.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Well, one of the parts, it dives in to Bryson DeChambeau, because obviously he is going to be on the team with Brooks Koepka. And it took me back to 2021 and 2020 and the Brooksy stuff and how the crowd was yelling it. And so I just finished this book a few weeks ago. And so it was so interesting, Nick, for me to read that around the PGA this year and then before the U.S. Open this year, because I'm reading this, and I'll be honest, I'm genuinely, and I'm in a book club, and so my friends and I were all having the same reaction. Man, I felt kind of bad for Bryson in hindsight, because I thought the stuff was funny. They're yelling at him because he was a pain in the ass on the course, man. He was so annoying. And yet, there was a quote from somebody, and I can't remember which golfer it was, but it was basically like, when you are out there, you're not on a team. You are your own person. And so the Brooksy stuff, getting yelled at, getting made fun of, you don't ever have a teammate to lean on. You might have your caddy, but that's kind of it. And so he's out there alone. And I thought, wow, that's a really good point. It was obviously getting to him. And eventually it came down like, you can't do that or you'll get thrown off the course. So like it had to stop, and it did stop. And I'm with you. Like, I still really don't like the guy, but yet, like, I'll be honest, I watched that video last night of him bringing the trophy over to the guy on TV, and I thought, I mean, look, this can be fake, but it is still really cool, and it ends with the guy hitting an incredible shot out of the bunker onto the green. Like, so, like, is this really who he is? It's hard to answer that because, everyone can pretend for a few hours in front of people. Like, you know, how many stories have come out? There's a weird comparison, but like Ellen DeGeneres on TV, smiles, great person. You hear all the horror stories of everyone behind the scenes. She's the worst person to work for. It's like he might act one way on the course in front of people. I guess like how he handled the PGA, I mean, losing and showing character in that moment, it's like, is this real? I feel like it's going to be a debate now moving forward. Like, should we buy into this guy moving?
And that's where I'm at. Is I echo everything you said. There are pressures that none of us will ever understand on that tour, especially when you are cast as either the villain or the one that everybody else has kind of shunned, like Patrick Reed. Now, there was another part of this that I thought, if I was really trying to go to that place last night of, has Bryson really found himself? Is this really who he is? And there's another example I bring up, like I brought up the type of money where you can go one way or the other. There's the other part of this where you think about how everybody who went over to live was thought of. And then you had a bunch of villains. And then where you're more isolated on the PGA Tour because you're supposed to honor and pride and respect the game and say the right things and all of that. You're now on live with guys like Dustin Johnson, a grizzled veteran, a guy that's had to go through his own demons with some drug instances early in the day. Patrick Reed is another one of those guys who I still think takes the taco as the heel on the tour on live. But you got all these guys that have been cast aside from the PGA world, from the fans alike as well. And at some point, maybe you find a group there, to your point, where you feel like you're on an island, especially when you're competing. But now you're in this league where everybody's looking at these guys the same way now. They're not just looking at Bryson of some of his behavior, but they're looking at all these guys as the big bad live guys, the renegades, the ones who decided to go off and not care about where the money's coming from the PIF. They just want to make as much money as they can and do that. Well, that can also maybe allow Bryson DeChambeau to find a little bit of support. And now you've got a bunch of other guys that are in the same boat. People are looking at you the same way. Boy, we don't like them. And ironically, Brooks Koepka, his chief rival, is now in it with him.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes to that, and that also can allow you to gain some perspective. Like, I'm not trying to play psychologist of how it could be as simple as him just growing up and maturing. If this is all real, what you're seeing, what you even saw in the PGA Championship, if his behavior, he's showing all this type of class, if that's real, maybe it is as simple as him maturing. But I also think having a bunch of other guys in LIV in the way that we initially looked at that league, maybe there was something to be said about him having support with a bunch of other people where it didn't matter how you were thought of on the PGA Tour. Now you're on LIV and everybody's looking at you like, oh, man, God, you guys are the renegades.
You're able to bond with people.
It maybe allows you to be more comfortable in your own skin, and then you develop from there.
Interesting stuff. Powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. A reminder that Country Fest is back on Friday at the OBV. This Friday, OBV welcomes singer and songwriter Chase Matthew to the Beer Garden stage. Tickets are $20 in advance at mattressfactoryomaha.com or $25 at the door. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1. John Walker of the Omaha World Herald will join us at the bottom of hour 2. Plus, we'll talk some Big Ten football. What makes a good year for 9 teams today? We'll start that process next hour on 1620 The Zone.
It's time to make a game plan for game day parking. During big events, curbside parking in Omaha has a higher event rate. So save money for peanuts and Cracker Jack by parking in a garage or surface lot. You can even reserve an off-street parking space days, hours, or minutes in advance with the Park mobile app. Learn more about where to park and how to pay at parkomaha.com.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days. Students are off for the summer, people are taking vacations, and the days are longer. It's a recipe for good times and long-lasting memories. Sadly, it accounts for 37% of Nebraska's traffic fatalities. Someone's waiting for you at a ball game, a party, or a wedding. Don't let a crash keep you away. Focus on driving. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
To be a part of Nebraska medicine,
hi, welcome,
is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity for each other and for our community.
That went really well.
For those who know that the academic experience,
You know what? I agree.
the life experience that you get here is beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers. Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Roofing. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Roofing come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
We're excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen in this beautiful, historic location. And of course, we brought in tons of new inventory, amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices, motorcycles, tools, bikes, guitars. And as always, get a cash on the spot loan from $10,000 to $50,000. Everything you've come to expect from Saul's in our new location. 22nd and Harney, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is West Omaha's headquarters for specialty pizzas and award-winning char-buffed wings. Enjoy games on their updated video and audio system and huge LED wall. Their main location on 173rd and Center is the perfect place to beat the heat with family and friends for the college baseball tournament. They also have a second carry-out location at 162nd and West Maple Street, featuring the same great pizzas and wings. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, home of the Big O Pizza and award-winning char-buffed wings.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Tractors, craftsmanship at its finest. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley. We have Josh Hodson here, Jimmy Chavez back in the Zone studio, and we are getting ready for some baseball. We'll talk about that as we roll on today as well. NC State versus Florida. One of those two teams will live to fight tomorrow night. One will go home. We will talk about that. Kentucky versus A&M later on, and Nick and I will be back before that one as well. Not a whole lot of time here, Nick, but Tony says you need to continue the next door conversation that Gary and Nick had at the end of their show.
Are you guys, are you and Riss on next door?
I used to be, and I don't remember my password, and I still get emails from them, and I've marked it as spam, but it still shows up as spam. Like, I don't want to be on there anymore. And so I actually get emails about Blackstone. I don't get emails about where we live now. Yeah, I don't, and like, there's probably takes. There's this woman who just lets her dog off the leash, and there's some people out there that do that, but their dogs don't run around like and hers does. And so I wonder if there are comments about her on our next door.
Yeah, it's as you've known, it's a lot of Karens and a lot of Karens and Kevins. And is that what they call the guy equivalent? I don't know.
Karens and Kevin. I always thought that's a good poll question. What's the male Karen?
What is the male Karen?
Chad.
No
offense to Chads. I mean, no offense to Kevins, but all offense to Karens.
So I have the Ring app, which is essentially the same thing. They'll do the neighborhood community, like texting and posts. Mine was pretty boring up until I found there was a SWAT team alert on a nearby residence. Like, anybody know why the SWAT team is on 144th and 4th? I'm like, yeah, now this is what I can get down with.
We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. Hour 2 upcoming. We will talk some college football, some Big Ten football. John Walker of the Omaha World will stop by. Omaha World Herald will stop by. Also, NBA Finals, Game 5. Am I going to get to have some Schadenfreude? Josh Hodson says, please, God, no. Have that at some point today, too. More to come. Hour 2 next on 1620 The Zone.
Upgrade your hydration is like a rookie pitcher quitting in the 7th inning.
Yeah, and now it's the bottom of the 9th. The AC's out and the transmission's throwing wild pitches.
So I was checking out car loans from Liberty First Credit Union. Applying looks like a home run with rates as low as 4.99% APR.
It's game time.
Step up to the plate with a Liberty First Credit Union auto loan. Equal opportunity lender. 48-month term for 2022 and newer models. Credit factors apply. Rates, terms, and conditions subject to change.
Upgrade your hydration this summer with Zen Water. Ultra pure, refreshing alkaline water. Zen Water transforms you with every quenching sip. Vapor distilled for ultra purity with the perfect blend of electrolytes added for taste. Zen Water is pure, elevated water. To learn more, visit zenwater.com. ZENWTR.com. And stop by your local retailer to find your Zen today.
Fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat facing our nation. A dose small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil is potentially lethal. The Drug Enforcement Administration is working hard to remove this threat from our streets. Join the fight and make a difference. To learn more about a career with DEA, visit DEA.gov/careers. People with different skills but the same mindset to keep drugs out of our communities. Visit them in person at Baseball Village during the College Baseball Championship.
When it comes to protecting your home, J. Stennett Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, J. Stennett Contracting has you covered. Water, wind, and hail can wreak havoc on the exterior of your home. If your home is damaged, let J. Stennett Contracting come out for a no-obligation inspection. If repairs are needed, they will help you through every step of the process. When you need an honest assessment, J. Stennett Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
And we're back live, and what a beautiful day here at the park. Just listen to that crowd. Excitement's in the air. They've come to see the best of the best from all over the globe in what's been a fan favorite for nearly 130 years. That's right, it's all at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Be sure to swing by between games and check out our newly reimagined Hubbard Orangutan Forest. Plan your visit at omahazoo.com.
In the heart of the country is a children's hospital at the forefront of pediatric innovation, where teddy bears and coloring books meet leading-edge treatment and technology, where warm smiles and a human touch go hand in hand with tools like remote patient monitoring and robotic-assisted surgery, and where a committed team of healthcare providers believes innovation is best used to deliver better care for kids. Children's Nebraska. Believe in better.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
Your home for the Men's College World Series is 1620 The Zone. KOC and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sponsored by Lanaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center. This hour of the Men's College World Series special on 1620 The Zone is presented by Nebraska Medicine. Nebraska Medicine, together extraordinary. 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours and Children's Nebraska. Here are your hosts for today's broadcast, Josh Peterson and Nick Handley on 1620 The Zone.
It is hour 2 here at the Omaha Baseball Village, and hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine, together extraordinary. And as the sun pops out, a reminder that the 1620 The Zone hydration sponsor is Zen Water. Time for a hydration break, presented by Zen Water, thirsty for a change. Stop by and you can register to win the Titleist Zen Water Max Homa golf bag. This thing is absolutely awesome, so stop by and register for that. Plus, we have foam fingers. We have little zone baseballs. We are out of the clear bag.
Oh, wow, we are?
Yeah, when it was raining the other night, you remember, Nick, the night that you were at home not doing anything with us.
Yeah, I was thinking about you guys.
It was rain. Oh, thank you. Chris kept offering them. He said, wear this as a hat, a rain hat.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so put it on your head. I don't
That's
know how many
creative.
people followed his lead on that, but yeah. Stop by. We got some stuff that you can grab. Joel writes, the male version of Karen is Joshua. Look, come on now.
Really?
I'm not one of those
Come on
folks.
now.
I just watch out. I'll maybe open the blinds to see what the riffraff is, and then I close the blinds and I move back on with my day. I'm not trying to do that. I just want to go to sleep so I can wake up early and take my dog for a walk or go for a run.
Do you
Those
ever
are the
call and
things I
complain
care
about
about.
fireworks at all?
No, but
Okay, then you're
I
fine.
I complain about them. I just don't call.
You don't call. I mean, we all complain about them. It's whether we lodge that complaint.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
if you want to do it,
That's your path.
first through fourth, I am totally okay with. When I hear that stuff on Friday the 5th, I'm going to be insanely annoyed. And if it goes all the way to Sunday, that's when I get mad. Like, what are we doing here?
And how's the dog handle it?
He doesn't care.
Okay, that's good.
Which is great
That is
because Mike Stibbs, who will be joining us on the show, he's filling in for John on Friday. His dog, Eddie, loathes fireworks. Thankfully, Banks doesn't really care a lick. He just wants his treats. Do I get a licky mat late at night? Then I'm fine.
We had a couple last night.
Did you?
Fireworks
in the neighborhood?
What?
Bunch of Tennessee fans?
I was irate.
Yeah, you're probably taking a nap.
I was not. My child was asleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
was?
Yeah.
Was.
How we doing, boys? Oh, hey, thanks.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Tell your dad to listen. 402-951-1620.
One guy, it says Creighton on the back. Do you think he's a big Jays fan, or is that his last name?
It's his last name because I see another one that says Williams.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Look
That's
at
cool.
that.
That's cool.
Coming up this hour, John Walker, Omaha World Herald. He'll join us. We will talk about, well, first of all, the most important question, what's going on with the umps? Are they all dressed properly? 25-minute delay or whatever it was last night so they could switch out umps. That game was humming along. I was texting with somebody as the game finally got near its end. First 4 innings in about an hour.
Yep.
And then the game didn't end until like 9:40.
Yes, I could not believe how quickly we got through like the first, really got halfway home. They're like, this is going to be this ain't going to happen, right? They're not going to hold this pace, right?
It didn't. So I wonder who was the scribe up in the press box that said out loud, wow, this game's really humming along.
Yep,
This
somebody
game is
jinxed it.
flying on by. So we'll see maybe if John Walker can let us in on which media member it was that screwed everything up for all of us. So we'll have John Walker on in a little bit as well. All right, Nick, let's begin or continue rather our conversation about the Big Ten Conference. So we started this on Friday. Again, I said this yesterday with Shafe. I like to use the College World Series as a way to maybe reintroduce myself to some teams, start the process of studying up and getting ready for what is going to be this stretch run towards the college football season. Sometimes it's with Nebraska. We went through an exercise yesterday with the offense of what is, well, I don't remember how we phrased it. Essentially, it was like best.
There was what makes a good season.
Yep.
Because we were kind of thinking, okay, best possible scenario. Well, for a lot of those teams would be, college football playoffs.
So that's what you and I are doing. Oh, we did what is the best case for the Nebraska offensive position group. So we went every position group. What would that look like? So yeah, you and I are talking about the Big Ten team. So we've gone through 9 teams already. We're going west to east. We did Nebraska on Friday. Go check out the podcast in the Connor Happer feed if you'd like to check out that, or in the Unsportsmanlike Conduct feed when we did that. But we continue on. So we'll do 6 during this show. And then when we're back in between the games, we'll do the final 3 teams. And those 3 teams will be Penn State, Maryland, and Rutgers. But we have 6 teams to get to today. We'll continue to move west to east. And we begin with a team, Nick, that was a super surprise. Northwestern firing their coach in the summer. It's been almost a year now since Patty Fitz got fired. And we all look at them and say, wow, they are going to be horrible, because they had been horrible under Pat Fitzgerald. And now they're dealing with a coaching change. Nebraska, that's one of their 3 October wins, is they have a 3-0 October. They had a lot of issues. And yet, in the end, they made it to a bowl game, which is just so darn impressive, given all of the stuff that they did. So we begin with them. And what I wrote for a good season, prove last year wasn't a fluke. Make it back to a bowl game. Their over-under on FanDuel is 5.5. The under is largely shaded, -210. But if this team can prove, like, look, no more Big Ten West, we're still able to get some dubs. If they can make it to a bowl game, man, I will be infinitely impressed with where this program is at and perhaps where they're going moving forward.
Yeah, and I like the way that you phrase that, because I think it's the obvious thing to say. A good season for them is to get back to a bowl game, given their win total. So you're hitting an over by many books that you would be majorly overachieving. This is a Northwestern program that I think a lot of us would agree, when you get out of the divisions, especially with Northwestern and the amount of Big Ten championships that they've been in, you know, if that was a open Big Ten, they're not finishing second in the Big Ten. So they were, talked about this a lot on Friday. There were teams that were a benefit of the division system. Northwestern was the chief of that. They were number 1. And hey, that's not to knock what they did.
No, it's not.
Once they went to the East and West, Nebraska never played in the Big Ten championship. That was a Legends and Leaders product. So the thing about Northwestern that I would say, yes, the bowl win would be significant. This will be a metric that we probably won't even be able to look at until we get into December and possibly getting into the following June for this team, that I would throw on top of getting back to a bowl game. And that is, everybody's going to be paying attention to the USCs. How do they transition? Oregon, do they look like they're going to be the new Michigan or Penn State to Ohio State?
Sure.
Northwestern,
Purdue, I would even say possibly Illinois, are teams that I think a lot of people on the outside are looking at. They will become the casualties of this conference because they just can't keep up with how they recruit. I want to see what David Braun and this overall football program, with having a new facility shortly, where they find themselves amongst their Big Ten peers when it comes to recruiting. Now, that's not the end-all be-all when it comes to Northwestern. We know that. And that was one of the great things about Fitz is kind of similar to Iowa. As long as they were in the top 60, they were doing a great job of developing. And really the jury's still out on David Braun. We don't know what he and his staff can do when it comes to development. But I want to see if they can put themselves, I'm not even going to say in the top or in the midway point of recruiting rankings when it comes to Big Ten, because I don't think that's realistic. But if they're a team that is able to maybe stay around 14 to 13, something better than 14. So you're not the last 3 or 4 teams when it comes to recruiting rankings. This is where I don't put a lot of stock in rankings, but I want to see how people are perceiving Northwestern because of the challenges that come with the academic restrictions. Are they able to at least put themselves, let's say, amongst the top 75 recruiting classes? Is that where they are? Can they stay inside the top 75? Are they ever dipping below to 80, 85? That to me would be a problem considering what you have to do to compete with the Big Ten right now. If they're getting classes that are inside 75, inside the top 60, I think that's actually really good for them. That's, to me, not only a good season on the field if they can get to a bowl game, but what comes after that. If they get to 6 wins and they're able to capitalize with that season and getting a solid, respectable recruiting class too.
Couple of notables on their schedule before we move on. They will have Ohio State and Michigan back-to-back weeks, actually, in mid-November. One a home game, one a road game at the Big House. They're at Iowa this year. Wisconsin comes to town. And speaking of home games, remember, this is going to be a team that has some pretty strange games, given that they'll be playing a lot of them at the lacrosse stadium. I am so fascinated.
I kind of want to go to a game.
I cannot wait to watch and just see what that looks like. I'm super bummed that Nebraska does not play at Northwestern this year.
That'd be number one on one of the games I would go to on the road.
They also will play at Wrigley Field this year in Chicago as well. We continue and we move a little bit further east and we go to Purdue. This is a team, Nick, that really struggled last season with their coaching change. There was a lot of excitement for Ryan Walters. It's a team that was not very good. Nebraska, another one of their October wins. Dare I say the most dominant win that Nebraska had all season last year. They did well with special teams. They did well with defense. Offense was what it was, but they still had some nice. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks. It's day 4. It's day 4.
Josh is very Zen-like. Also the Zen water too.
But so they go 4-8. Their win total is 4.5 on the season. The under is where the shading is. Notables on their schedule: Notre Dame in the non-con. They're at Oregon State in the non-con. They're at Wisconsin. Oregon comes to town. They're at Ohio State. Penn State comes to town as well. They also will host Nebraska. Brutal schedule. Yeah. So what is a good season for this team in year 2 under Ryan Walters?
Hitting this one was easy to me, and that's hitting the over. It's not even bowl eligibility.
So just getting to 5?
Getting to 5 with that schedule. Brutal. And with the building that Ryan Walters needs to do. At Purdue, you can't expect this to be a major jump. And it doesn't even, I don't think it's indicative of Ryan Walters. I think now that you have new competition when it comes to recruiting that territory, when it comes to now having the likes of the West Coast teams coming in and probably going to recruit in the area that you've had success or at least hoping to have success, I think that adds an additional challenge to Ryan Walters. This is going to be, I think, the improvement for Purdue. If it's going to work under Ryan Walters, I think it's going to be more of a snail's pace. So to me, 6 wins, sure, obviously you take bowl eligibility, but a 5-win season for Purdue, I don't think anybody could look at that and say, man, is Ryan Walters the guy? I think you can look at 5 wins and be like, considering what they've had on that schedule and just a slow progression, I think 5 can be respectable. I really do. I think that's a good season.
We are in the exact same boat, and it's pretty interesting to see where this team has fallen. You know, obviously they did not fire their previous coach. Jeff Brom went home. He went to Louisville, but this was a team that, again, in the Big Ten West, Big Ten East era, they did make it to the conference championship game. Again, something Nebraska was unable to do once it moved to East and West, but they've taken a large step back. I think that there were perhaps some signs of Walters not being the guy last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to learn if he is or isn't this year, given the schedule. I guess if they won 7 games somehow, you'd be like, all right, yep, sign me up for the Ryan Walters experience. And if they only won 1 or 2, all right, maybe not. But if they get to 5, I don't really know if that tells me anything. It does say, wow, they were able to really squeeze everything possible.
Because that non-conference schedule, as you pointed out, that's not easy either.
2
Notre Dame and Oregon State.
Notre Dame, yeah. So last year that would have been 2 power conference teams.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to view Oregon State right now, but certainly the Irish, who as a team that's going to have playoff aspirations, and then at Oregon State, and I imagine that they'll be excited to welcome into a team in Corvallis. We'll do one more team before we take a break. We will stick in the state, and we will go to Indiana. And Indiana, their win total for this upcoming season, Nick, it's not a whole lot better. It is 5.5. And again, another team where the under is where a lot of the bettors are going. They are at UCLA. I think the earliest Big Ten game on the schedule, because that is week 3 when they play them. Other notable games, they host Michigan. They play at Ohio State. Those games are back-to-back games, so they will have an off week in between them. Washington will also come to town. They will travel to Michigan State, and they also will welcome Nebraska to town. That is the final game for the Huskers before that 5-game stretch afterwards. So
That's got Friday written all over it.
Bingo. Yes, it does. So for me, I wrote, can they be in the bowl mix? And if so, it's going to mean stacking up wins early because starting with Nebraska, it's Nebraska, Washington, at Michigan State, Michigan, at Ohio State, Purdue. So really, really kind of like Nebraska in a way, really tough stretch towards the end of the season. So can this team get back into the bowl mix? I'll be honest, though, not really feeling good about the Hoosiers.
I'm not, it's real similar to how I look at Purdue because now, mind you, Ryan Walters in his second year, Kurt Cignetti's taken over a program that at one point, it wasn't that long ago.
COVID year, man, they had a great season.
Yes, they did. And it wasn't just because they had quarterback figured out, too. A lot of this came with, there was a culture there, and we can say what worked and what kind of flamed out there. But I think with Kurt Cignetti, if he's showing that he's able to get his blueprint on this program, and what I mean by that is you're going to see a level of competitiveness, even in games that they're losing, that this team is showing the buy-in, where you're getting into the second half of those 50-50 games, and even the ones that you might fall by the wayside on, you're competitive in the fourth quarter. I can put a number on that, but I don't think it has to be a postseason. I still look at them as again, they would be in the under a 5-win season to me, which I think is probably the right call there. I think that's where the money should be. I still think you could look at a first-year Kurt Cignetti in that Indiana team with 5 wins and say, well, that was a pretty good year considering getting a new coach, getting a new system in place, and the schedule that you have. I think there are possibilities where you can look at a 5-win season for them and say, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. It's going to be tough, again, with that schedule and year 1 under Kurt Cignetti. So we'll see what happens with the Hoosiers. We still have Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State. So some big dogs to get to throughout the rest of this show, and we'll get to 3 other teams later on today. Also, John Walker will join us at the bottom of the hour. Come by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win ice cream for a year from Ted Wally's. Ted Wally's official ice cream is 1620 at the Zone. Celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha. Hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley, Josh Hodson here at the OBV. More to come on 1620 The Zone.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
Experience the difference and save more when you shop at one of our 3 convenient Woodhouse Ford locations. And right now, it's more affordable than ever to get behind the wheel of a new vehicle when you visit a Woodhouse Ford dealership. Going on now, save up to $10,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Ford F-150 Super Crew XLT with approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 7/08/2024. See dealer for details.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
You don't have to wait for your perfect landscape. Patera Landscaping can book your project now and have it beautifully installed in time to enjoy this July and August for cookouts and get-togethers. Trees, bushes, colorful gardens, water features, patios, outdoor kitchens. Patera Landscaping can do it all. Call today and have your perfect landscape this summer. Patera voted Omaha's best. PateraLandscaping.com.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
He thinks bean counting is an iPhone app. He is the most uninteresting man in the world.
Hi, I'm Bob Berger. Don't just get your taxes done, get them managed. If you're tired of losing sleep over your business and personal taxes, you're ready to make more money, give us a call.
Call Berger, Elliott, and Pritchard CPAs at 402-551-1919 or visit bepcpa.com.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Roofing. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Roofing come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Velocity is currently seeking participants to wear a Fitbit watch for 31 days with compensation of up to $200. Some other current studies include low T, COPD, flu, pediatric, infant, and RSV. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages. See current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com, compensation for study-related time and travel, and find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. And a reminder that Country Fest is back at OBV this Friday. OBV welcomes singer and songwriter Chase Matthew to the Beer Garden stage. Tickets are $20 in advance at mattressfactoryomaha.com or $25 at the door. John Walker will join us in a few minutes. We will talk about what he has seen here at the 2024 Men's College World Series. A couple of meh games yesterday, Nick, after I think that we jinxed it. We spent so much time talking about, wow, North Carolina, Virginia, this is great. Tennessee, Florida State, wow, controversy.
Yeah.
Kentucky, NC State, what a game. Texas A&M, Florida. I was asleep, so I didn't see it. But it was a close game. And then yesterday.
A home run was robbed in that game, Josh.
Home run was robbed. A lot of great photos. And then 7-3 Virginia in a score that is not indicative of how that game unfolded. And then Tennessee 6, North Carolina 1. So a stinker of a Father's Day Sunday, and it was hot out.
Yeah.
Like, come on, what's going on? At least you want the good baseball if the weather's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah, at some point we were going to come back down to reality. I mean,
sad.
3 walk-offs in a row. Then, you mentioned the Saturday night game that whether people were still up or not, you heard about how that game ended. You get the robbing of the home run. And so it's all come down to a run. And then you get into yesterday where you knew at some point it was going to even out. I honestly think it took till, I want to say Tuesday this time last year when we actually had kind of a boring game. Like even the Tennessee LSU game, the Skeens game that Saturday night, it was maybe a 3 or 4 run game if I remember correctly, but there was a home run late in the game where LSU extended their lead. There was a 1-run game for a while. So it delivered. You knew you're going to get something like that. This is where we get in those elimination games though today, where I hope it's exciting. I put more stock into the winners bracket game tonight. That should be a good game, maybe more closely contested like we saw early on. Where this is the one where I feel whether it drags or not, maybe won't be the cleanest product that we've seen so far here in Omaha.
Yeah, Kentucky versus Texas A&M tonight. That one should be a whole lot of fun. One of those teams will be set up, and they won't have to play again until Wednesday. The loser then will turn around and play the winner of the early game today between North Carolina State and Florida. And one of the things that I'm excited to talk about with John is how does he think that late night affects both of the teams from a couple of days ago? Texas A&M gets the victory, so they are playing 2 days later, but of course they're in the winner's bracket game, so they get a little bit of extra rest. Like, is there a world where both of those teams lose today? That NC State beats Florida, knocks out the Gators, that Kentucky beats Texas A&M, and then they are set up and Texas A&M has to play again tomorrow. I just wonder if that's a very realistic possibility given that they didn't start that game until after 10. They didn't finish until after 1. I know only the head coaches had to do interviews that night, so at least the players didn't have to worry about those responsibilities. But it's not like they got a normal night of sleep. And I don't know about you, man, but like you get a bad night of sleep, and it's going to affect you the next day. I always feel like, though, the real bad night of sleep is something that affects me 2 days later. And so if that's the case, could today be the day where Florida and Texas A&M are dragging just enough and they struggle? Or they're 20 and they're going to be totally fine, and I'm in my mid-30s.
I was just going to say 45-year-old Nick would probably have a much different answer than what 22-year-old Nick would have
for sure.
On that one. You know, the other thing I would consider is if that happens later in the tournament, let's say they were playing in either a winner's bracket game tonight or you're in an elimination game, or well, I guess, you're playing in one of the second games tomorrow night, and that thing goes long, and then you have to play the following evening. You emerge from it victorious, but the following evening, that would be pretty tough because then you think about that game ended, about 1:15?
Yeah.
You get back to your hotel after you pack everything up, you talk to your team and everybody gets back to the hotel. You're probably starting to settle into your room closer to 2:15.
You're probably wired.
You got to eat something.
Yep.
And then
you got to get cleaned up if you haven't already.
And so you're probably shutting it down at about 3:00. And then you're getting up. You probably just want to get some breakfast in you just to kind of get yourself out of bed. You can take a nap if you're playing later on that day, or if you're playing, if you got the full day off, you can do that. But if that's later in the tournament, I think that's definitely more of a factor. The fact that was their first game of the tournament after having the week off that they did and having the last game of the first 4 games that we saw, I wouldn't expect it to be as big of a factor tonight as I think it could if that happens later in the if that happened later in the CWS.
That's a really good point, right? Like if it happened today or tomorrow, it's a different story because then you're going into elimination games, and obviously for Florida this will be an elimination game, so we'll see what happens with them. But for the other two teams, you're getting deeper, you're getting a little bit more tired. The arms are a little tired for the pitchers. You're just trying to get everything in order, and so that'll be certainly something to watch. And look, I know this. If Florida wins today, I didn't affect them at all. If Texas A&M wins tonight, I didn't affect them all. If either of those teams lose, it's going to be like, man, it affected them. They were exhausted.
Yeah, if they to your scenario, if they both lose, we'll circle that and we'll blame that and we'll talk about that.
I love blaming random things.
It is good, especially things that we deal with as much older people than the actual student athletes themselves.
Yeah.
They're like, well, yeah, that's how I would feel. So definitely they're feeling that. Yeah.
I would feel it 2 days later.
Maybe not you because you run like 1,000 miles a day, but yeah, for me,
just 900 a day. Just 900.
Gosh, you've scaled it to back.
Yeah. Hey, recovery days are important. Recovery days are important. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. And 1620 The Zone is joined today by Pyramid Contractors, craftsmanship at its finest. When we return, John Walker of the Omaha World Herald, he will join us. We will talk about what we were just expanding on and get his thoughts. Hey, what do you think, John, about these teams? Is that fatigue, will it set in? We can talk about that. We can talk about what he has seen. I'm pretty sure this is his first Men's College World Series, so we can get his thoughts on this event as a whole. Also, we will put a bow on our Big Ten discussion as well as we continue the countdown to game one of the day. NC State and Florida coming up just after 1 o'clock right here on 1620 The Zone.
Great Plains Home Exteriors is Omaha's premier home exterior expert. Trust their experienced craftsmen for your window replacement projects. Whether you've been hit with storms or just due for a replacement, they offer several different brands and styles of windows that can be the perfect finishing touch to the exterior of your home. Gutters keep clogging? Get leaf guards installed before the leaves start to fall this year. For more information and to schedule a free estimate on a project, go to gphomeomaha.com. That's gphomeomaha.com.
It's time to make a game plan for game day parking. During big events, curbside parking in Omaha has a higher event rate. So save money for Peanuts and Cracker Jack by parking in a garage or surface lot. You can even reserve an off-street parking space days, hours, or minutes in advance with the Park mobile app. Learn more about where to park and how to pay at parkomaha.com.
To be a part of Nebraska Medicine
Hi, welcome.
is to be a part of something extraordinary.
Nebraska Medicine, how may I help you?
Because these are the doors that open doors.
How are you?
To growth and opportunity, to advancement and impact, to extraordinary teamwork.
That went really well.
Together, for each other, and for our community. Because within the doors of Nebraska Medicine,
Good to see you.
we welcome your curiosity, value your voice,
Dr. Richards, what do you think?
and partner with you to chart your path to do the extraordinary. Together.
You got this.
This is our commitment we never take for granted. Because when you open the doors
Let me get that.
to Nebraska Medicine, you open yourself to an academic experience, a life experience, an extraordinary team experience beyond what you can get anywhere else. And that's exactly why here is where you belong.
Ready?
Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary. Join us at nebraskamed.com/careers.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
At Rotella's Italian Bakery, they put unsurpassed product quality into everything they bake. Old world skill and experience are masterfully blended with modern efficiencies to create the delicious breads, rolls, hamburger and hot dog buns, and other specialty products that have delighted their customers since 1921. Combining customer satisfaction with uncompromising quality is their goal. Rotella's Italian Bakery, a century of pride in every slice. To see the full menu of products, visit rotellasbakery.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is West Omaha's headquarters for specialty pizzas and award-winning char-buffed wings. Enjoy games on their updated video and audio system and huge LED wall. Their main location on 173rd and Center is the perfect place to beat the heat with family and friends for the college baseball tournament. They also have a second carry-out location at 162nd and West Maple Street, featuring the same great pizzas and wings. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, home of the Big O Pizza and award-winning char-buffed wings.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Velocity is currently seeking participants to wear a Fitbit watch for 31 days with compensation of up to $200. Some other current studies include low T, COPD, flu, pediatric, infant, and RSV. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages. See current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com, compensation for study-related time and travel, and find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
Are you ready, Omaha? From DJs, performers, and the annual Country Fest, Omaha Baseball Village has your post-game plans covered. Country Fest welcomes country music artist Chase Matthew and special guests Seaforth and Zach Miller this Friday. Doors open at 4 with tickets on sale now for $20. Make sure you make your way to the beer garden stage with music starting at 9 o'clock every night. Follow us on social media at Omaha Baseball Village or visit omahabaseballvillage.com to buy tickets and check out the lineup.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, Nick Handley with you from the Omaha Baseball Village, where Hour 2 is presented by Nebraska Medicine. Together, extraordinary. And 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village and is sponsored by the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium. #1 zoo in the nation. Visit omahazoo.com to plan your adventure. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley. We have Josh Hudson here as well. Jimmy Chavez back in our zone studio. And happy to welcome in John Walker from the Omaha World Herald, who joins us. We feel horrible, John. It's your off day.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for driving down, taking the time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Is there a such thing as an off day during the College World Series?
Excellent question.
There is. I experienced that on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, he didn't work this weekend, so he's nice and refreshed. But yeah, even on the off day, you're certainly paying attention. This is your first College World Series. What have you thought of the event so far?
No, it's nuts. So actually, guys, I covered the Women's College World Series last year. I was covering Oklahoma State. They made it. It was a 45-minute drive. So cover the Women's World Series last year. So being able to do that and then come up here and do this year has been insane. I did part-time radio down there, and we would talk about the Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge and just how nuts the World Series is. And then by chance, I'm up here now and get to see all of it firsthand. It's unreal. And then on top of everything, we've had some pretty darn good baseball games.
Yeah.
So, it's exceeded expectations so far. I was told that the first one is always the best. I hope that's not true in a way. But, man, it'd be hard to top this one for sure.
Okay, so I'm curious. I know the stadium setup and everything down in Oklahoma City compared to here with the surroundings. As far as the overall fan fest here compared to how it is in Oklahoma City with the NCAA, how's it compared now that you had a chance to be around and cover both?
I would say it's probably not close, and I only say that because this is kind of like smack dab downtown Omaha.
Right, and they're kind of like where old Rosenblatt used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that's a really good comparison. It's not in downtown Oklahoma City. It's a little bit outside. I would say the fanfare here is like bizarre compared to what it is in Oklahoma City. They tailgate. They get after it down there, but there is nothing like walking around the corner and going to Rocco's.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that down there. So, this is nuts. Already on pace for attendance records or keeping up with them anyways. So you can tell how many people are in downtown Omaha by just walking around.
Yeah,
that's awesome. John Walker joining us from the Omaha World Herald. Let's talk about the games today, or rather, John, a conversation Nick and I were just having. So, of course, the super late night a couple days ago for both Florida and Texas A&M. We're trying to figure out how much we think that will affect them, and we were looking at it through the prisms of ourselves. I'm in my mid-30s. He's in his mid-40s. Of course, this is going to be a bunch of 20-year-olds. Like, do you think the super late night affects them? And if so, how does that show itself today?
No, I don't think so. They stay up that late.
Right, that's true.
That late anyways, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's interesting because of the schedule flipping almost. Like if you play the night game, you play the morning the next time you're on the field, right? Is that
loser will play?
Loser.
Yeah.
So, it'll probably affect the morning game, maybe more so than the night. I don't know if it'll affect it that much, truthfully. They've had a day.
Yeah.
I'd imagine
Take some naps.
Yeah, they got some naps in. They avoided Rocco's. They, did all the things that they were probably told to do. Yeah, I don't know if it will affect it that much. But we saw a 20-minute umpire change affect pitching.
Incredible.
Yeah. We saw that affect pitching last night. Drew Beam said, it was odd. It was interesting. We had to kind of adjust to it because we just stopped play for 20 minutes. If a 20-minute delay can have that type of impact, maybe a 4-hour delay can have an impact. So we'll see.
I know you've been doing some of the features for the World Herald as well. The food feature is always a must. So biggest takeaways with the fair that people are enjoying. What did you like the most?
Yeah, food-wise?
Yeah.
Food-wise? Yeah, so I'm kind of my understanding is I'm kind of our food correspondent throughout the week.
That's not a bad gig to have.
No, right? So, yeah, I'll trade in Creighton beat reporter for food correspondent for a week, and that's fine by me. But I wasn't here on Saturday. It was my girlfriend's birthday, and I got here kind of late yesterday because of that. So I have only tried one thing in the stadium, actually.
What was that?
It was the ground crew tachos.
Oh, okay.
Fire.
Yeah. That's a good one to have right there.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I walked up to the stand. I was like, what do you think? I'm doing a review. They were like, oh, the tachos. It was like brisket, sour cream, barbecue sauce, tater tots, this like zesty ranch type of
Sounds
thing.
awesome.
No, it was good. It was good. So I'm hoping to get more food in maybe today.
Well, that's what if that's what you're doing, you might as well.
I'm already down here.
Yeah, you might as well get to it.
Yeah, you might as well eat. John Walker joining us from the Omaha World Herald. You can read his stuff at omaha.com. You were there on Friday. You saw the way that Florida State lost to Tennessee. Yeah. Were you surprised at all? Not just that they won, but how they won yesterday, given, I mean, to get to one strike that they think should have been called, and they end up blowing that one after that. Surprised at all that not only that they won, but they won pretty handily yesterday.
Yeah, we saw that from them all season, kind of the high power, high potency offense capabilities. Like we saw that from Florida State all year. And we saw it even in that Tennessee game. This is a team that put up 24 runs or whatever it was on UConn in supers, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, they've been capable of it. I don't think so because people had asked Link Jarrett, your team responds. Your team finds a way to respond in any moment. And that was just kind of the latest example of it. They for sure wanted that game and maybe should have had it on Friday night. That's also the top seeded team in the country. So, it sucks. It really does. Because sitting there 2-0 is obviously a lot better than 1-1 with your back against the wall. But this is a team that's bounced back all year. I think yesterday was kind of the culmination of that when they needed it the absolute most. Interesting enough against an ACC rival. So, yeah, I wasn't really surprised. That they were able to bounce back, maybe in that capacity, sure. But I think it just kind of reaffirmed that we have seen this Florida State team, and that's still the Florida State team that's in Omaha.
I know that you used to be on the Oklahoma State beat for a while too, and we get to see Florida. They come out of that regional, which I'm assuming if Oklahoma State had lived up to the number one seed, this would have been a little extra fun for you too, to being able to cover them at the College World Series. But that Florida team, I was talking about this earlier on the airwaves, that there's something about that Florida team that I just feel you're not going to throw anything at them right now that's going to keep them uncomfortable, because they were on the brink of elimination in that regional. That wild game against Clemson that they end up winning, where, again, they're coming from behind after Clemson takes the lead, and then you get all the extracurriculars with Bakich and Jack Leggett getting tossed, and he's pumping up the crowd. They think they've got it, and then all of a sudden Florida just responds with a couple in the bottom of the 10th, and they walk off and win it. I don't know if there's anything you're going to throw at Florida right now, even in a loser's bracket situation, because they've been battling for their season from the time they actually got in the NCAA tournament, just barely making it in the postseason.
Yeah. No, they came to Omaha like 34-28 or something, like maybe into the
very close to 500. Yeah.
I mean,
barely over 500 to get into the NCAA tournament too.
This is a team that, theoretically isn't supposed to be in Omaha.
Right.
So they're kind of, I'd imagine they're playing with house money at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be here. We're 6 games over 500 or whatever it is. We made it out of the Stillwater Regional. Let's have at it.
Yeah.
So no, I think that's exactly right. What are you going to throw at this team that's going to make them buckle if they haven't buckled already?
Right.
I don't know if there's anything. Maybe it's Tennessee.
It doesn't hurt Caglione's going today too.
I don't know, but you have a superstar with Jack Caglione.
Mm-hmm.
You have a team that's kind of rallied around that, and in this somewhat underdog mentality, if you will. It's hard to say there's any underdogs in Omaha, right? But yeah, I mean, I think they have the fewest wins of any team here, and they've kind of embraced that. They haven't been rattled at any point. I don't know why they would be if they haven't been already.
Yeah.
John, before I let you go, yesterday Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball, he reported that Mark Kingston is going to be Creighton's next head coach, and then late last night he reported that former South Florida head coach Billy Mull is going to join Creighton as their pitching coach. It's been so interesting, hearing from the Creighton fans over the last however many weeks since the news came down about Ed Service. There's been a lot of frustration, surprised at all at these names that just given – it's a weird situation, obviously, right? A coach in waiting. We don't really see a whole lot of this.
No, and that's kind of the interesting thing is you have to find the right person to be willing to take on a coach in waiting role. It's not for everyone.
Nope.
I think you guys know that. We all know that. But it looks like it's going to be Mark Kingston. And I think that was interesting because he was at South Florida. And so that's where the pitching coach would come from.
Yeah, he's been his guy for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So, those pieces would make sense, obviously. And maybe guys, this is what Mark Kingston needs, if we're being honest. There were really high expectations at South Carolina. They are still less than they're 15 years removed from 3 straight trips to the World Series that landed them 2 back-to-back national championships.
Yeah, they were a power.
Yeah. So, there are high expectations in that program. It's the SEC, so there's automatically high expectations. And then again, a team that won back-to-back College World Series in 10 and 11. So yeah, it just didn't work out. I think I haven't talked to him, obviously. I think Mark Kingston would probably be one of the first people to admit that. Most competitors are. It didn't work out. And so maybe getting a year to just be an assistant, to be a coach in waiting, maybe that's the best course of action for him at this point. We'll certainly find out. But if that's the hire, surely we'll see something this week, right?
Yeah, should be pretty interesting to follow. John Walker, Omaha World Herald. You can read all of his work at omaha.com. John, we appreciate you coming over, taking the time. Get some food.
Thanks, guys.
John Walker joining us here at the Omaha Baseball Village, where we are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. You can stop by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village. Register to win ice cream for a year from Ted Wally's. Ted Wally's, official ice cream of 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson and the Old Market, Omaha. Less than an hour until we are off the air. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. We still got some Big Ten stuff to talk about. Still got Game 5 to talk about. So much more. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley, Josh Hodson with you after this on 1620 The Zone.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Experience the difference and save more when you shop at one of our 3 convenient Woodhouse Ford locations. And right now, it's more affordable than ever to get behind the wheel of a new vehicle when you visit a Woodhouse Ford dealership. Going on now, save up to $10,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Ford F-150 Super Crew XLT with approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 7/08/2024. See dealer for details.
Upgrade your hydration this summer with Zen Water. Ultra pure, refreshing alkaline water. Zen Water transforms you with every quenching sip. Vapor distilled for ultra purity with the perfect blend of electrolytes added for taste. Zen Water is pure, elevated water. To learn more, visit zenwater.com. ZENWTR.com. And stop by your local retailer to find your Zen today.
In the heart of the country is a children's hospital at the forefront of pediatric innovation, where teddy bears and coloring books meet leading-edge treatment and technology, where warm smiles and a human touch go hand in hand with tools like remote patient monitoring and robotic-assisted surgery, and where a committed team of healthcare providers believes innovation is best used to deliver better care for kids. Children's Nebraska. Believe in better.
Why wait for your perfect landscape when Patera can get it booked now and installed in plenty of time to enjoy this summer? Gorgeous, healthy trees and bushes, a colorful garden with a water feature, a berm, a beautiful new patio. Whatever you're imagining for curb appeal or more privacy, Patera can book your project now so you can enjoy your perfect landscaping cookouts this summer. Patera, Omaha's best. PateraLandscaping.com.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the rooferys. Make the right call.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Thanks again to John Walker for stopping by. Hour 2 has been presented by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. And 1620 The Zone is joined today by the Drug Enforcement Administration. To learn about the dangers of fentanyl or to join in the fight against drugs, visit DEA.gov. So you missed it yesterday. We talked about at the end of the interview with John. Kendall Rogers officially reported that Mark Kingston going to Creighton to be their next head coach. And then during the game last night, he added that former USF baseball head coach Billy Moll would also be joining the program. And you know, we've talked about it a little bit, Nick, over the last few weeks. That Ed Service, we had him on. John and I did the day of or the day after the news came down.
Yeah, I think it was the day of, right?
Yeah, that he was going to be retiring, but coming back for another year. And so they're going to get Kingston, who was head coach of South Carolina. And John mentioned it. You know, it didn't go the way that they would have wanted it to, just given who he followed and then level of success that South Carolina had over the last decade and a half. And so it was always going to be an odd situation. I think that is why you saw so many players entering into the portal. And I would say that it is still going to be an awkward situation. Yeah. Just because we now know who it's going to be doesn't mean that the awkwardness goes away by an announcement, which, you know, will come, you know, any day now, if not today. This is going to be so interesting. And I know that there's a lot of frustration from especially Creighton baseball fans just about the program lately, about this situation. And so you wonder if this maybe calms some nerves just a little bit.
Yeah, and yes and no. I think, and the thing, Josh, that I think we've all kind of been in lockstep with, of regardless of who they got, unless this was a position to groom Connor Gandasi for another year for him to be a coach in waiting, or someone similar to a Connor Gandasi, an up-and-coming coach that hasn't had the full reins but looks like they're on the cusp of it, that was either going to be brought in here or was already going to be on staff. That's when you can see something like this work. And I'm not trying, I know it's apples and oranges, but when we think of, you know, when Tom Osborne retired and, you know, Frank Solich, you know, had the guy in waiting basically on staff there. A guy that, like Mark Kingston, who's well-established, you know, an interesting connection to the Missouri Valley when, you know, back when you go back to the days of, you know, Creighton baseball being obviously a Missouri Valley team too. There's that ability to understand, you know, what it takes to recruit in this area. But I think of someone who doesn't really fit the profile to me for a guy that is going to be going from a head coaching job at an SEC gig and then going into a following season as a head coach in waiting / top assistant, as he's already hired his top assistant. I said this earlier. The only way I can see this playing out, that it's not as awkward, it's still going to be awkward, is that Ed's pretty much the CEO. And Mark Kingston's doing a lot of the, I mean, it's not going to be behind the scenes things, but he's making a lot of the decisions that are going to impact the immediate and future for that baseball program when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to the things that they want to implement stylistically as a baseball team, where Ed is still the face of the program. He's going to give you your preseason previews. He's going to give you your post-game press conferences. He's going to be giving the lineup up at home plate with the umpires, but everything else is going to be under Mark Kingston's watch. That's how I would assume that this thing goes. And I'll be honest, anybody who knows me knows I have nothing but respect for Ed. Ed is one of the true baseball guys in this business, and especially in this area. He's done so much for that school. But now that you got Mark Kingston, if you're Marcus Blossom or anybody else who was part of this decision to have Ed come back for another year and get that coach in waiting, now that you got Mark Kingston, if you could do it all over again, would you go a different path? Would you say, you know what? Let's start this process now. Let's get that new voice in now, and let's not have that coach in waiting title. Let's just call him the coach, and we will celebrate the years that Ed has given us, and we'll say happy retirement, Coach. We're good. You're going to be good, and it's time to start this thing over.
Because that's the thing, right? Like, we all know what's going on here.
Yeah.
We all know that this is let's do this, but let's label it a very specific way, that this is going to be your last coach, that you are going to retire. That's what's happening. And so it's a tremendous question, because this is different than other coaching waitings that I can remember. And I'm not well versed on all of them. I don't know how many times this has happened in college baseball, et cetera, et
Pretty
cetera.
rare.
But the ones that I always think of are from college football, when Texas brings in Will Muschamp, with Mac Brown still there, or when Florida State brought in Jimbo Fisher when Bobby Bowden was still there. One of those resulted in the guy becoming the head coach. It was the latter with Florida State. The former, Muschamp, actually left, and he went to Florida, mainly because there weren't timelines on those, right? They brought them in, and then it was the nudging of
we want to groom
later.
you, but we're not going to put a definitive timetable on it.
Correct. And so groom as in just we're just going to make sure that you're getting a high salary because we really, really, really want you. And then Will Muschamp ended up bailing on that situation regardless. So this is going to be different. Like we all know, 2025 is going to be Ed Service's last year as head coach. But there is an uncomfortable nature to this, given that there is now the top assistant for the next guy has already been hired. And you just asked it. What's the role for Ed Service next year? What is he doing for them? And what does that mean for the success level? And what does it mean for the players? Who do you answer to in that situation?
Right.
It's got to be really awkward.
I think that's the biggest question, Josh, is if you're a player, and especially with the amount of guys that they lost from this last season between the transfer portal and who classed out, you've got a lot of holes to fill. And the beauty of the transfer portal is you can fill those holes right away with guys that, as we've known now here in this transfer portal era, guys that can fill those holes immediately, and they're going to be in your starting lineup immediately. But who's recruiting them? I'm assuming that's going to be Mark Kingston, because if those are guys that have multiple years of eligibility, well, you want to know that you're going to be playing for me, even though I'm in this coach in waiting role. I'm going to be the head coach in 26. So you would think that unless you're just getting a bunch of one-year mercenaries to fill some of those roles, how is that going to go over when it comes to recruiting both the transfer portal and then your traditional recruiting? Because I'm assuming this is a big time to recruit, especially at the high school level too. Is Ed doing that, or is when Mark Kingston finally announced and he and Billy Mole, his top assistant, are they going to be the ones that are doing the majority of that work? And what type of first year, if you're trying to finalize that class, what type of first year are you laying out for those guys?
Great questions. We are powered by Access Bank, here for a reason, yours, and by Children's Nebraska. We will come back, have a couple of guests that are going to join us, and we will begin the final hour of today's early show, counting down and looking ahead to Wolfpack versus Gators. Pregame at 12:40. John Bishop, Mike Farron, and Connor Happer on the call for that one. We have one more hour next on 1620 The Zone.
Attention baseball fans, are you ready for the ultimate college baseball experience? This series is back in Omaha, and Tickets for Less is your home whether you're looking to buy or sell your tickets. With Tickets for Less, you can buy and sell tickets 3 ways. Online at ticketsforless.com, by phone at 402-398-1999, or in person at the retail office at 14543 West Center Road near the Oakview Mall in Omaha. Shop the best seats at the best prices with no service fees and save now with promo code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com.
Since this is a radio commercial, you can't see the people standing behind me. They're the Langfeld family. Everybody wave. Oh, sorry, you can't see them because radio. Anyway, the Langfelds are the family behind Langfeld Overhead Door, where they proudly install Midland garage doors to fit any space and style. And they don't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to their service. Because if something goes wrong, it's their name on the line. So they're going to make sure it goes right every single time. Langfeld Overhead Door, 402-234-2700.
At Rotella's Italian Bakery, they put unsurpassed product quality into everything they bake. Old world skill and experience are masterfully blended with modern efficiencies to create the delicious breads, rolls, hamburger and hot dog buns, and other specialty products that have delighted their customers since 1921. Combining customer satisfaction with uncompromising quality is their goal. Rotella's Italian Bakery, a century of pride in every slice. To see the full menu of products, visit rotellasbakery.com.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
We're excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul shopping experience like you've never seen in this beautiful, historic location. And of course, we brought in tons of new inventory, amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices, motorcycles, tools, bikes, guitars. And as always, get a cash on the spot loan from $10,000 to $50,000. Everything you've come to expect from Saul's in our new location. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Food, festivals, and a whole lot of fun. You're sure to find some this summer in Sarpy County, Nebraska. From festivals and fireworks to homemade ales and beers to a winery and distilleries, Sarpy County is your go-to destination for summertime celebration. There's also shopping, sports action, concerts, and a whole lot more. But summer isn't going to last forever, so get out your calendar, click GoSarpy.com, and start making plans. Sarpy County Tourism. So near, so fun.
Your home for the Men's College World Series is 1620 The Zone. KOC and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. Sponsored by Lanahaw Nurseries. 192nd and Center. 1620 The Zone is live at the Omaha Baseball Village. Powered by Access Bank. Here for a reason, yours. And Children's Nebraska. Here are your hosts for today's broadcast, Josh Peterson and Nick Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back to the Omaha Baseball Village. 1620 The Zone is live here at the OBV, and it's sponsored by the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Visit omahazoo.com to plan your adventure. And a reminder, as the sun continues to peek out, 1620 The Zone's hydration sponsor is Zen Water. Time for a hydration break, presented by Zen Water, thirsty for a change. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley, Josh Hodson here hanging out, and happy to welcome to the OBV Jeff Evans and Tanner Evans from Soldier Sports. We got a couple of awesome bats in tow as well. Guys, how you doing today?
Great. How are you?
We are doing fantastic. Got a chance to watch one of the videos that you guys have for these bats from Soldier Sports. I just want to go all the way back. What made you want to get into doing something like this?
So, Soldier Sports has been around for about 7 years, and about 2.5 years ago, Tanner and I set out to create the very best possible BB Core bat on the market. And it took about 27 different iterations, 2.5 years, and we came up with something that, that I was really excited for him to get to be able to use, something that was super light but had a lot of pop. And you want the best for your children, right? And so what we did is we created something that we knew that if I knew it was the best for him, then other dads are going to want the exact same thing.
You come from a baseball family. You played it yourself. You've seen the transition from the non-BB core bats to the BB core era, and we remember in college baseball that took some adjusting too. So when you think about the bat technology and what your goals were for these particular models, you have the BB core one, then we have the youth one. What were some of the things that you wanted to see out of that, especially when it does come to that technology?
Yeah, so he's a little guy, right? Growing up, he's a little guy, and he needed a very light swinging bat, but also you don't want to have the bat suffer just because it's light. You want it to be able to have tons of juice. So through this process, we'd get sent from our manufacturer. We'd get sent a bat, and he'd tweak it. He'd say, "I like this, I don't," or whatever. But the number one rule was, don't say a lot nice about it. We just want to hear what's wrong with the bat.
Yeah.
And 2.5 years later, it's got a lot of juice.
Jeff Evans, Tanner Evans joining us right now here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Tanner, I have a question for you. You find out from your dad that he wants to get into this. He wants to start doing this. What's that reaction like early on your end?
Yeah, I was super excited. I swung a bunch of other bats. I mean, I didn't really find the one that I really liked, so it was kind of nice that I just got to design my own thing and just have my own bat pretty much.
Okay, so I know, and you play baseball over at Millard North. I know how it goes when you've got the new bat, the new technology.
Yeah.
All the teammates want to try it out. Everybody wants to sample it and everything. I mean, are you pretty good at sharing that bat and letting people try it out? Because hey, that's not easy, especially bats. They don't cost you $1 anymore.
Yeah, we just passed it down the lineup, and everybody got to try it out, and they all really liked it. So,
nice.
Jeff, let me ask you this. Jeff Evans, Tanner Evans from Soldier Sports joining us right now. What were bats missing that you were like, this is something that I know that we can do and that we can do it better, whether it's my son, his friends, or others around the country?
Yeah, I think it was the combination of the light/heavy. And, through this process, we're like, okay, well, we've got something that, that he loves, that his buddies have tried out, they love. We had to have it tested, right? And test for the BB core scale, and which is it's a 0.50 BB core scale. Our bat came back, we thought it was awesome. But to have the lab come back, it came back and tested at 0.499 out of the 0.50 BB core scale. I mean, you can't get hotter than that, right? And so it wasn't just us, but, thinking, oh, we invented something that was cool or it's hot. It was validated in the lab, not just on the field.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where I wanted to go. As far as the testing of something like this, before you feel like, hey, this is ready to be actually used by everything from college to high school to Little League, how much testing has to go through where you feel like, hey, we've got a product? Because I talk to Little League coaches. My next door neighbor's a Little League coach, and he talks about the amount of money that they put into a bat, but then within maybe the first time out, you got cracking going on with some of those types of bats, not your guys's, but just the bats that people are spending a lot of money for. So I'm assuming that's got to go through a rigorous amount of testing before you're like, all right, we're good.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, before we tested it, we went through so many different types of alloys, the wall construction, the thickness, the thinness of that, to see how much pop you could get, but also be able to make it super durable. The very first, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 bats that we made, they sucked. I mean, they were bad, right?
Yeah.
And they had no juice and they were heavy. You're like, gosh, is this really going to work?
Yeah.
And then it just started to gradually get a little bit better and a little bit better. And then we started to refine it, like, working on the grips and, putting the full taper in there. You see that it's really thick at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's an epidemic, but it's getting that way of all the hamate bone injuries. You saw Mike Trout lose half of the year because of the hamate bone. And what this does is it goes right up all the way to the knob. Nothing's going to completely eliminate, but it should significantly reduce the number of injuries that they have. And then we went to so we got the one for the high school and the college kids. We were working, in parallel with the youth bats, the USSSA bats, and that's a completely different. That's a composite bat. And it's like layering a bunch of different screens and, the thickness and the thinness. And you want a lot of juice, but you want it to be super durable as well.
Jeff Evans and Tanner Evans joining us right now at the Omaha Baseball Village from Soldier Sports. Jeff, one of the things that I mentioned to you off the air was the way that these things look. Like, you want to play good, but you obviously want to look good as well. I said that when I'm out for a run, I love wearing loud colors. These bats are loud, and I'm not just talking about the sound that the ball makes when you're hitting it. What went into the look, into the design to make them look like this?
That's a great question. So I was down at Better Baseball in Atlanta, and they had our bats, and they swung our bats, and they were like, gosh, I love the feel, I love the pop. But he goes, look at this bat wall. He goes, not one person is going to pick up your bats, because at the time they were black and green. They said they don't look different. Nobody's going to pick it up. I love how hot it is. The kids aren't going to do it. You need to do something different. So I put our designer on speakerphone, and I said, look, this has got to be different. We got to make it loud. And Max Clark and all those kids, he made the pink and the blue really popular in travel ball last year. And so we piggybacked on a lot of that, all that, the fun colors.
Tanner, I know in high school baseball, I mentioned the bat selection, but also trying to perfect the swing. But when there's something about when you get that sweet spot, especially what you guys see now these days with more power arms at the high school level, when you think about just the confidence that when you're going up to the batter's box and you got a bat that you can rely on, even if maybe you get jammed a little bit, maybe you're getting good barrel contact, whether we're talking about the handle or we're talking about the barrel, you feel like you're pretty confident when you're getting that smooth swing through?
Yeah, big sweet spot. So, I mean, really, if you miss it, it still goes pretty far.
Yeah.
You can still get a hit or whatever. So, and yeah, the swing weight, just being able to get there and just put the barrel on it, pretty easy.
Gotta love going to the plate with a lot of confidence. Jeff, if people want to find out more information, if they want to get one of these themselves, where can they go for more?
So, pretty much any sporting goods store in the United States. Go to soldiersports.us. And one of the neat things that we got to be a part of is this bat became the official metal bat of Perfect Game. So once that happened in January, it literally changed our company. And all these kids, they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of that organization because it literally is the best
That's
in
awesome.
amateur baseball.
Super cool. Jeff Evans, Tanner Evans from Soldier Sports. I love the way that these things look. Super cool. Congratulations on all the success. Great luck moving forward.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us here at the Omaha Baseball Village. 1620 The Zone is also joined today by the Drug Enforcement Administration. To learn about the dangers of fentanyl or to join in the fight against drugs, visit DEA.gov. When we return, Josh Otson gets you ready with a weather forecast. Also, what's going on with traffic on this Monday? That is coming up next. Josh Peterson, Nick Handley here at the Omaha Baseball Village. Day 4 of the Men's College World Series. NC State versus Florida in about an hour. Kentucky versus Texas A&M coming tonight. More to come on 1620 The Zone.
Our car radio is like a rookie pitcher quitting in the 7th inning.
Yeah, and now it's the bottom of the 9th. The AC's out and the transmission's throwing wild pitches.
So I was checking out car loans from Liberty First Credit Union. Applying looks like a home run with rates as low as 4.99% APR.
It's game time.
Step up to the plate with a Liberty First Credit Union auto loan. Equal opportunity lender. 48-month term for 2022 and newer models. Credit factors apply. Rates, terms, and conditions subject to change.
Great Plains Home Exteriors is Omaha's premier home exterior expert. Trust their experienced craftsmen for your window replacement projects. Whether you've been hit with storms or just due for a replacement, they offer several different brands and styles of windows that can be the perfect finishing touch to the exterior of your home. Gutters keep clogging? Get leaf guards installed before the leaves start to fall this year. For more information and to schedule a free estimate on a project, go to gphomeomaha.com. That's gphomeomaha.com.
And we're back live, and what a beautiful day here at the park. Just listen to that crowd. Excitement's in the air. They've come to see the best of the best from all over the globe in what's been a fan favorite for nearly 130 years. That's right, it's all at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Be sure to swing by between games and check out our newly reimagined Hubbard Orangutan Forest. Plan your visit at omahazoo.com.
In the heart of the country is a children's hospital at the forefront of pediatric innovation, where teddy bears and coloring books meet leading-edge treatment and technology, where warm smiles and a human touch go hand in hand with tools like remote patient monitoring and robotic-assisted surgery, and where a committed team of healthcare providers believes innovation is best used to deliver better care for kids. Children's Nebraska. Believe in better.
You don't have to wait for your perfect landscape. Patera Landscaping can book your project now and have it beautifully installed in time to enjoy this July and August for cookouts and get-togethers. Trees, bushes, colorful gardens, water features, patios, outdoor kitchens. Patera Landscaping can do it all. Call today and have your perfect landscape this summer. Patera voted Omaha's best. PateraLandscaping.com.
If you want a perfect landscape, call Patera.
It's time to make a game plan for game day parking. During big events, curbside parking in Omaha has a higher event rate. So save money for Peanuts and Cracker Jack by parking in a garage or surface lot. You can even reserve an off-street parking space days, hours, or minutes in advance with the Park mobile app. Learn more about where to park and how to pay at parkomaha.com.
What is it that people say nowadays? Oh, go let your feet touch grass. In Sarpy County, Nebraska, we agree 100%. From Fontenelle Forest in Bellevue to Schramm Park in Gretna and the miles of bike and walking trails in between. There are also great outdoor concert venues like the Astro and Falconwood, even the outfield's berm at Warner Park. That'll sure do you some good. So get outside and experience everything. Click GoSarpy.com and experience Sarpy County.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
If you've ever been injured in an accident, the Nebraska Advocates are here to get you back in the game. Their experienced personal injury attorneys will guide you through the legal process, answer your questions, and fight for your physical, emotional, and financial recovery. We'll help you access medical care, get your car repaired, and find the resources you need. Get a free consultation at NebraskaAdvocates.com. You deserve an attorney who will go to bat for you. You deserve an advocate.
I'm Don. My journey began when my internal specialist found a mass. My biggest fear was missing out on future memories. Nebraska Cancer Specialists has made it possible for me to continue to be active and to be able to spend time with my family. Together We Are Stronger means that I know that I can't do it all myself. My NCS family has allowed me to create the memories that I want to make. NebraskaCancer.com.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, Nick Handley, stop by the Zone booth inside of the Omaha Baseball Village and register to win ice cream for a year from Ted Wally's. Ted Wally's official ice cream is 1620 The Zone, celebrating more than 35 years with over 3,000 flavors. Benson in the Old Market, Omaha. And 1620 The Zone is joined today by the Drug Enforcement Administration. To learn about the dangers of fentanyl or to join in the fight against drugs, visit DEA.gov. We are continuing to count down. We'll be off the air in little over 20 minutes. NC State and Florida, one of those two teams will go home. The other will live to fight another day, and they'll play tomorrow night versus the loser of Wildcats Aggies, which will happen tonight at 6 o'clock. Nick and I will be back on the air after this early one, and we'll be on until 5:40. And today it's John Bishop, Mike Farron up in the booth, Connor Happer down on the field. Speaking of Connor Happer, his producer is Josh Odson. Today, he's back hanging out with us after a lovely Father's Day off. Josh, it's good to hear your voice again. Could you regale us with some information about the weather? There were thunderstorms this morning. Do we need to be concerned about more thunderstorms?
Not
today.
Yes.
That's what I like to hear. Not today.
Now tomorrow, we'll
No,
talk tomorrow.
don't do
But
that.
Today, windy with a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the low 90s, looking like we will be not a care in the world.
Not a care.
For game day today. Second game looks like it should be about 89 degrees at first pitch, looking like I got 78 right now. That feels low. I don't know.
Like what the temperature is at this exact moment in time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we're also in the shade. Yeah, you go like 5 more feet, we're in the sun. I bet it doesn't feel like 78 right there.
Well, the weather update is powered by the winning team at Liberty First Credit Union, supporting their communities and providing banking with purpose. Now we turn our attention to the traffic.
Give me green, Josh. Give me green.
It is a Monday, Josh. It is a Monday.
It is. This is normally one of the lighter sessions at the College World Series. The traffic is presented by Park Omaha. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com. We've got backup on Cummings Street all the way to 20th. So pack your patience.
Oh,
there.
there's a butt.
And let's see. We've got big delays on 14th, 15th as you head west away from the stadium there. As always, do make sure you look out for foot traffic and maybe some out-of-town drivers that aren't as familiar with the area as you are. Traffic is presented by Park Omaha today. Make a game plan for your parking. Reserve a downtown parking space in advance at parkomaha.com, fellas.
Great work from Josh Odson there.
It's good to have you back. Good to have you back, Josh.
Good to have you here, Josh. Just be ready. It's going to be a little bit delayed. Omaha Baseball Village, it's starting to thin out as people get ready to go in for another game. And again, we will see somebody eliminated in just a few hours. Nick, as we wind down our show, a couple of things. Creighton just made it official.
Yep.
We got it. Well, I didn't get a press release. You got a press release.
You didn't?
I don't know what's up
hell?
with that. Do I need to ask Glenn to
Yeah.
get it re-added to a list? Like, I get all of the Rob Anderson stuff, but I don't get the Glenn stuff.
Did it go to your spam?
I guess so. I don't know.
your
I don't
spam.
think so. I don't
Yeah.
think so. From
Well, this
Proof
isn't
Point
spam. This isn't
Essentials?
spam news, though.
No, it's not.
No, we've
Tell
got
me more.
The official word has come down. Mark Hingston named associate head baseball coach, and he will lead the Blue Jay program in the 2026 season. So
he'll be the assistant to
the region.
Yeah.
2025. Yeah.
Again, awkward. We talked about it a lot. If you want to go check out our conversation, you can check out the podcast on the Connor Happer Show feed. But this will be unique. Very, very unique. And I just, you wonder, too, about, we talked about players. Do they feel like they have to answer more to one person than the other? Do newer players who are coming in to play for Kingston, do they show more allegiance towards him? So certainly something to think about as the march towards February goes on. Let's put a bow on our Big Ten discussion as we get ready to say goodbye. So we have the 2 Michigan schools, and we have Ohio State. Win totals, we start with the Michigan State Spartans. They have a first-year coach. That coach is Jonathan Smith. This guy comes from the West Coast, thought he might be an Oregon State lifer. Obviously, we know what happened with Oregon State and losing their power conference status. He leaves. He goes to Michigan State, where they are happy to pay lots of money to head coaches. And their win total right now sits at 4.5. For the first time today, Nick, talking about a team where the juice is actually on the over for this Michigan State squad. But fascinating team in year 1 under a head coach. They play Maryland in week 2 on the road. They have back-to-back games versus Ohio State and at Oregon on a Friday night in Eugene. They're, of course, at Michigan this year. They will always play the Wolverines. They welcome in the Hawkeyes as well. What I wrote down for Michigan State, keep the season from going off the rails. I think an over would be okay.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, though, I'm getting some bad vibes from the Jonathan Smith Michigan State era so far. Just some of the things that I've heard behind the scenes, how he operates maybe in recruiting. I don't know if the fit is ultimately going to be there for this guy.
The thing I do like about Jonathan Smith is you're probably right as far as how long it's going to take for him to implement his overall style, both internally and externally. But I do think anytime you do make that jump, if you can have quarterback figured out, you're going to have an Aiden Childs coming over with him, understands more the Jonathan Smith type of coaching style and the coaches that he's going to be bringing with them. I think that you have to look at it's interesting when you said not off the rails. So I'm assuming what you mean by that, too, is you have a competitive November. You're just not fading so
You're
fast.
not
once you get
3-9.
into November.
You're not
Right.
getting blown out against. I mean, like, look, I think that they're going to get stomped maybe once or twice, but
Yeah.
can you avoid a lot of losses by a lot of points? You know?
Yeah, and there was some young defensive linemen that they were able to retain from a year ago as well. There's things with that program that it wasn't all bad in that transitional year when you lost Mel Tucker, then you have an interim coach, and then you're trying to pick up the pieces from that standpoint. It sounds really basic, but I would say if you're hitting the over, it is a good season. This is another team with a coaching transition on top of the schedule that you don't necessarily need to hold them to a good season, having to be postseason, having to be 6 wins. But I think more than anything, if you get off to a decent start this season and you're starting to get good play out of Aiden Childs, I still think that 6 wins is probably going to mark a pretty solid year. Now, is it good with 5? This is where I think there's a big gray area where I think there's going to be context. It's very important because let's say you get 5 wins, but you do have that November fade.
Yep.
Well, you're probably not very happy with that. But if use 2018 Nebraska, where you get off to this horrendous start, and then you finish strong, and you're winning your last 4 of 6, then you feel pretty good about that, even though that's a 4-win season. I think the over, no question, has to be considered a good season. Does that need to be 6? I don't think it necessarily has to be 6 wins.
Yeah, and their non-conference is they're going to Boston College, Florida Atlantic, Prairie View, A&M will also come to town. They're at Maryland and Ohio State. I mean, it's a really tough schedule. Honestly, the more I look at it, the more that I think the under is probably the play with Michigan State. So they're another one of those teams that we said what would make a good season. I don't think that they will have a season that is good. Let's get to their in-state rivals next, the Michigan Wolverines. Their win total, 9.5, so obviously a bit lower than it's been. The under is where the shading is at. It's minus 215 on the under, 9.5. They welcome Texas into the Big House. Big new kickoff in week 2. USC comes to town towards the end of September. They're also traveling to Washington. Oregon will be in town, and of course they're going to finish the season versus Ohio State on the road. No Penn State on the schedule this year as the Big Ten West and Big Ten East are no more. Mr. Nick Handley, what's a good season for the Michigan Wolverines?
It's honestly hitting the over. And for them, I think this is the year that everyone is expecting you to take a step back. And with Sharon Moore, what he's going to inherit is still pretty solid. And their defense is still very, very good. Their front 7 is still very, very good. They've got some guys at the line of scrimmage offensively that are very good. What are they going to do at quarterback? Who is that necessarily going to be? Do they go with a younger guy? Do they go with more experience that I shouldn't say have a lot of game experience, but when you have the running game, the running attack, there's not a lot that I think is going to change from what you saw Jim Harbaugh from a philosophical standpoint, because you do have Sharon Moore there offensively. It's going to be about their physicality. So they are still, in my opinion, built for that. Are we looking at them as a double-digit win type of team? No, probably not. But I think a good season for Michigan this year, after winning a national championship, I don't think you can fall back to 8 wins. So for me, for Michigan, and for Sharon Moore to continue that Michigan imprint on a new Big Ten, where you've got more players like an Oregon, they're going to be after you, especially when it comes to recruiting. I think 9 wins has got to be a good season for Michigan.
So I'm gonna give you 2 answers, kind of like what I did with Nebraska 3 days ago on Friday. The first answer is I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think an over being in the playoff mix, I think that would be very much appreciated by that fan base in the first year under Sharon Moore. So I think that would be okay. The other option is this, and this is some mid-90s stuff for the Wolverines. Beat Ohio State. If they go 8-4, but if they beat Ohio State again, this Ohio State squad, and we're about to finish up this exercise for this show with the Buckeyes, that would be massive. And you want to talk about a way just to ingratiate yourself as a new head coach, as a first-year head coach. You go on the road in Columbus, and you beat Ohio State. All of the pressure in that game will be on the Buckeyes. Ryan Day cannot lose to Michigan again. They've not beaten them in 5 years. They've lost 3 years in a row versus Michigan. So beat Ohio State, or, like you said, be in that playoff mix. Go 9-3. If they're 9-2 going into the Ohio State game, they're in the playoff conversation. And certainly it's like if they win this game, they're probably in.
Will they be able to decide on a quarterback, too, by week 1 and be able to roll with that guy, whether it's Alex Orji or Jack Tuttle? Those are, and, there's other guys that are in the mix, too. It might not be either one of them. So, that's another thing. If they can settle on that and roll with it, then that probably indicates they got their guy. That's going to go a long way.
As we finish up the segment, I think this is the easiest team that I kept using them as an example when we started this exercise on Friday. It's Ohio State. It's win a national championship. what that fan base is going to be okay with. I don't think that they would be fine with a loss in the Natty. I mean, certainly the conversation does begin and end with beating Michigan. They cannot lose to them again. But I think that they have put together a stacked roster. They are loaded. I have questions at quarterback. Otherwise, they should win the Big Ten Conference. It's either them or Oregon for me. I lean Ohio State at this point in time. National title or bust.
Yeah, we're probably annoyingly too similar. But here's the thing, though, and I'll add to your point there, what they've invested in the offseason, being able to get Chip Kelly out of the head coaching ranks at Big Ten so he can just sit in the offensive lab and cook it all up. And then you think about the investment that their collective has made, too. Guys like Judkins being able to we'll see. You're not high on Will. I'm not really high on Will either, but there's
like the weak link in that
I agree,
system.
But I feel like they have so much around him that it actually probably elevates his game more so than what people maybe even want to give it credit for. They are in a must-succeed type of situation where they've put the investment in there. Everybody knows about it. The only place to go is down, and even if it's down a peg, first of all, as you get to a national championship, obviously that path goes through beating Michigan and finally taking that back. But the other part about what Ohio State has invested into, this is the conversation about Ryan Day that we've always had, is how can a guy that has won so many games potentially be on a hot seat if he doesn't get it going? This is the most important year of Ryan Day at Ohio State. If you cannot get it done with everything that they've put into this roster and coaching staff, are you ever going to be able to get it done?
How can you expect to get it done if you can't get it done this year? We have 3 teams left. We will go to the far east part of the conference, Penn State, Maryland, and Rutgers, and we'll do that in between the games today. Country Fest is back at OBV this Friday. OBV welcomes singer and songwriter Chase Matthew to the Beer Garden stage. Tickets are $20 in advance at MattressFactoryOmaha.com or $25 at the door. We will come back. We will wrap this show up. We will give you our picks for NC State and Florida and get you ready to send it to the booth. John Bishop, Mike Farron, Connor Happer down on the field as well. Last segment of the morning afternoon. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
Fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat facing our nation. A dose small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil is potentially lethal. The Drug Enforcement Administration is working hard to remove this threat from our streets. Join the fight and make a difference. To learn more about a career with DEA, visit DEA.gov/careers. People with different skills but the same mindset to keep drugs out of our communities. Visit them in person at Baseball Village during the College Baseball Championship.
And we're back live, and what a beautiful day here at the park. Just listen to that crowd. Excitement's in the air. They've come to see the best of the best from all over the globe in what's been a fan favorite for nearly 130 years. That's right, it's all at Omaha's Henry Dorley Zoo and Aquarium, the #1 zoo in the nation. Be sure to swing by between games and check out our newly reimagined Hubbard Orangutan Forest. Plan your visit at omahazoo.com.
I'm Dawn. My journey began when my internal specialist found a mass. My biggest fear was missing out on future memories. Nebraska Cancer Specialists has made it possible for me to continue to be active and to be able to spend time with my family. Together We Are Stronger means that I know that I can't do it all myself. My NCS family has allowed me to create the memories that I want to make. NebraskaCancer.com.
Cubby's in the Old Market is your tailgate and baseball party headquarters. Cold beer and a full liquor department. Pop, ice, and Cubby's bottled water. Plus hot coffee and fresh and hot breakfast every morning. Cubby's Old Market, 13th and Jackson has it all for every baseball fan. Get everything for the grill from the full meat department. Chester's Chicken, Godfather's Pizza Express, hot and fresh deli food. Cubby's at the corner of 13th and Jackson. Open 24 hours. Cubby's for the very best in convenience.
The time between Memorial Day and Labor Day is known as the 100 deadliest days. Students are off for the summer, people are taking vacations, and the days are longer. It's a recipe for good times and long-lasting memories. Sadly, it accounts for 37% of Nebraska's traffic fatalities. Someone's waiting for you at a ball game, a party, or a wedding. Don't let a crash keep you away. Focus on driving. Brought to you by the Nebraska chapter of the National Safety Council and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Experience the difference and save more when you shop at one of our 3 convenient Woodhouse Ford locations. And right now, it's more affordable than ever to get behind the wheel of a new vehicle. when you visit a Woodhouse Ford dealership. Going on now, save up to $10,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Ford F-150 Super Crew XLT with approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 7/08/2024. See dealer for details.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Smith for Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. Now that we got through the spring and we're in the summer, what's better for summer than ice cream? I always say, get yourself a bucket load. Now I know they don't sell it by the buckets at Ted and Wally's, but they do sell it by the pint. They do sell it by the half gallon. All you got to do is call ahead to get yours reserved today. And so many flavors. Go on social media, whether it's Facebook or on Twitter, and they have a list of the day's ice creams for both locations. That's in the old market, of course, and in Benson. Swing by there, get yourself some great ice cream this summer, and tell them Severe sent you.
Curveballs belong in baseball, not your bank. When you choose Access Bank for your personal or commercial banking needs, you'll know what to expect every time. Personalized, all-in-one service from experts who know banking and the Omaha Metro. Access Bank has convenient branch locations and easy online solutions. Because we're here for a reason, to make your experience a home run. Learn more at accessbank.com. Member FDIC.
Upgrade your hydration this summer with Zen Water. Ultra pure, refreshing alkaline water. Zen Water transforms you with every quenching sip. Vapor distilled for ultra purity with the perfect blend of electrolytes added for taste. Zen Water is pure, elevated water. To learn more, visit zenwater.com. ZENWTR.com. And stop by your local retailer to find your Zen today.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Velocity is currently seeking participants to wear a Fitbit watch for 31 days with compensation of up to $200. Some other current studies include low T, COPD, flu, pediatric, infant, and RSV. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages. See current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com, compensation for study-related time and travel, and find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
Now back to the Men's College World Series special live from Omaha Baseball Village, powered by Children's Nebraska and Access Bank on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, Nick Handley with you here from the Omaha Baseball Village as we wrap up the show. And Chris Prudon, it's about to be lunchtime, and we're all excited for lunchtime. Aren't we excited for lunchtime, Chris? No, we're not excited for lunchtime.
What's for lunch at the ballpark today?
I am having. We'll get.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'll let you know what was for lunch.
Over the pregame show.
I will let you know what was for lunch. We will get to that. Before, though, we wind down, Mr. Nick Handley, it is time to look ahead to this first game of the day. NC State and Florida just about to get going. Pregame coverage with John Bishop, Mike Farron, and Connor Happer starts in 5 minutes. We talked earlier about Florida. They played that late night game, of course, and they were the loser of that late night game. You don't think, John Walker didn't think, and you guys kind of talked me into thinking maybe that's not going to matter a whole lot. How are you viewing this one today?
I just like that you're considering old man in these guys.
I'm sorry. I have gotten old so very
now, college
quickly.
baseball, the players are a little older than what we're used to, though, as well. So you got I understand it.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to go against Florida right now because, first of all, I got Jack Caglione going. The guy's an absolute stud. And I go back to their path of getting just to the postseason, getting to the NCAA tournament, a couple of games over 500, one game over 500, getting into the field, and then their backs up against the wall after a real tough loss in that winner's bracket game in the Stillwater region. So not once but twice. Not only that, to come back and beat Nebraska the following day, but then beat Oklahoma State twice to get to the Super Regional. And then you fast forward into that just absolute wild game against Clemson that they're able to emerge after giving up the lead in the extras and then retaking the lead on a charged up Clemson crowd. I just don't think there's a lot that you can throw at this team, whether we're talking about late night baseball, whether you're talking about a team that, again, their season is now on the brink. It's been that way. They've overcome a lot of that. And, not to say NC State's here for a reason as well, but there's just something about this Florida team that when they are pushed up against that wall, they respond. And who better to respond than Jack Caglione, one of the most impressive athletes you're going to see in this field?
Yeah, I am on Florida. So all that talk about being tired, being sleepy, and yet I'm going to be on the Gators.
Talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, and I liked NC State coming into the postseason. Really good metrics. They had a lot of wins over some really good teams, even if their overall record was not, indicative of a team that was going to make it to Omaha. And they had that tough loss to Kentucky the other night, or the other day rather. But yeah, I like Florida a little bit more. And I guess I don't want to get swept up in the whole tired thing, even though I do. There's a part of me that thinks it's going to be very real, but I also think that Florida is a really good baseball team. They have been in this situation before.
Yeah.
We've talked about it ad nauseum, really over the last few weeks going into the regional in Stillwater as they were about to take on Nebraska. So, yeah, we are in agreement. Give us both the Gators to get this win and move on and then play tomorrow night if that's the case.
So congrats, NC State. You're going to win, and because we're not right.
Yeah, so what did we do? We agreed the other day on Tennessee, Florida State, and wow, did we get away with that one?
We did. I was, because you got me on the Virginia one. I took the Hoos in that first game. They lost, so you were good. Actually, you're on a heater right now, aren't you?
Well, I was, but then, let's see. I'm trying to figure out what I picked. I liked Kentucky. No, I think I might have liked NC State on day two.
Okay.
Yesterday, I did like Tennessee, but I liked Virginia. I thought that Florida State was going to recover very poorly after that horrible loss, and they dominated that game, man. And it was I was inside the ballpark yesterday watching with my parents and my wife, and that was one of those games where they kind of went up early and everyone was like, all right, cool, I can go to the shade or I can leave because it is really, really hot. That one thinned out very fast over the course of that.
That was a much-needed break for everybody who was fighting the elements such as yourself. But, Florida State, that was impressive. Excited about tonight's game. I know we'll talk more about that in the afternoon, but it should – I wouldn't be shocked if, Florida, especially with Caglione, it's going to be tough. Run's going to be hard to come by if you're NC State. But, NC State also countered pretty well too. So this, I think, will be a competitive game. I think tonight is going to be absolutely fantastic baseball. So hopefully what happened yesterday will not be a side of things coming. I think we're going to get back to what we saw Friday and Saturday today.
Couldn't agree with you more. Also coming up in between games, we will finish up the exercise with the Big Ten teams, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers. What's a good season for those teams? We also didn't get a chance to talk at all about the NBA Finals today, so we can do that a little bit as well as the Mavs try to stave off elimination.
It's over.
Force a Game 6. Yeah, sadly, I think that you're going to be right there. Also, Adrian Martinez, MVP of the UFL championship game as they pick up a title. What does this mean for Adrian Martinez and perhaps getting back to the NFL? Another thing that we can talk about, certainly reaction to this game that is about to start in a preview of Kentucky and Texas A&M. But next, it is North Carolina State and Florida. John Bishop, Mike Farron, pregame from upstairs. Connor Happer will have conversations with both of the coaches on the field as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning into the early portion of the afternoon, and enjoy the baseball. For Jimmy Chavez back in our zone studio, Josh Otson hanging out with us here, and Nick Handley, I am Josh Peterson. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be back after the game. Enjoy NC State and Florida next here on 1620 The Zone.